Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, homeowners, when is the last time you checked your home title? Scammers are targeting your equity with just a single forged document they file at the county. So don't wait until it's too late. Find out if you are already a victim today. Please go to HomeTitleLock.com and use promo code BILL to get a free title history report, plus a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. On this Monday, I am a big free speech guy. I make my living that way. But the phrase at the end of the day has to be banned. $100 fine if you use it. At the end of the day, we will not say at the end of the day anymore because it's giving everyone a massive headache. Same thing with it is what it is. And you're amazing. And all good. And no worries. Unbelievable cliches. Those phrases have infected the entire country. Now, why am I so opposed of cliched free speech? It's because it diminishes clear thinking. If you use the same phrases over and over again, you are not thinking, you are reciting. You have memorized something. And it's boring. I cannot listen to these sports interviews because every second baseman, every hockey goalie, every center in basketball says, at the end of the day, we just want to win the game. I got it. Don't say it. Back in a moment. Bill O'Reilly here. If you are stuck in a timeshare you no longer want, my friends at Lone Star Transfer can assist. Over the past 15 years, the family-owned company has helped more than 30,000 owners break free from their timeshares. They'll provide a guaranteed solution to exit your timeshare. So please call Lone Star Transfer 833-594-0079 or visit LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. I am eyeing a rain chance today. It's a lower risk for some storms, but morning or afternoon could see that scattered activity. Otherwise, temperatures expected to be near 91 degrees. Another toasty afternoon, but feeling a bit hotter once you factor in that heat index. Tuesday is much of the same, but eventually we'll see temperatures drying out by the end of the work week. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
News, analysis, opinion.
They were looking for the intelligence community assessment.
I don't think statute of limitations are going to impact.
That report is pretty damning.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Let's get the conversation started, St. Louis. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
You know, as closely as I follow news and politics and all that sort of thing, I get political fatigue too. So believe me, I understand it. But we're just about a year away from the primary elections. On the Illinois side, that means we're talking about the race for governor. Missouri side, we're talking about everything from county offices to state legislative offices. There's going to be a lot going on. So how do we make sure we navigate this in a way that keeps the candidates and office holders accountable, but doesn't wear us out in the meantime? I think we'll touch on that throughout the morning here. Hey, good morning, Mike Ferguson. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Bill Eigel, former state senator, now running for executive of St. Charles County, was with us on Friday, just kind of reviewing some of the news that's happening around the country, but also right here in the St. Louis metro area. Interesting insights, as Bill always brings us. And here's what he had to say. When we're talking about, obviously, you being a big part of the Freedom Caucus here as well, I want to get into the fact that the Freedom Caucus is being really, really busy right now. And in addition to some of the stuff that the Freedom Caucus is calling for and getting done, just so you know, I'm going to ask you in a couple minutes about the fact that so much of Missouri media and establishment politicians still say, these guys are, just gadflies. They don't actually get anything done, but it seems like they're driving a lot of what's happening in the legislature. So I'll get to that in a minute, but you're running for county executive in St. Charles County, where things, obviously, there's a lot of, debate over different policy issues and planning and all kinds of stuff that's going on. But to the south, St. Louis County, Sam Page now has a credible challenger. You have served with Brian Williams. Tell me about Brian Williams. Who are the Democrats going to be choosing between? What does he offer that's different than Sam Page?
Well, I that's a great question. I'm not usually looking at the Democratic primary because I think there is a great Republican individual, Dennis Hancock, that's going to be running over on the Republican side. But I will say this about Brian Williams, and I did serve with Brian Williams, and I can tell you after working with Brian, he is a big upgrade from Sam Page. And I think that the Democratic Party, the Democratic Party nationally is suffering from just an awful destruction of their brand. They can't get anybody that has even basic common sense. They can't get anybody that has even basic ability to manage virtually anything in or out of government. So I think if you're a Democrat in St. Louis County, you're probably pretty happy about the idea that Brian Williams is going to compete for this seat versus the Sam Page, who's now been indicted on felony counts and has been just a train wreck for that county for a long, long time. So I do have a good relationship with Brian Williams, and if he's the guy that's successful in that election, that would be somebody that I think would be much better to work with than a Sam Page. But that's getting ahead of ourselves. The reality is, like I said, we do have a good candidate that I'm excited about. Dennis is got a great resume, and I think he's going to give, whether it's Brian or it's Sam Page, he's going to give them a real run for their money. Yeah, because Brian Williams isn't any less far to the left than Sam Page, but at least he's not the train wreck that Sam Page is. Yeah. Brian is, he's kind of built a reputation from in the Democratic caucus in Jefferson City of someone that can be worked with, someone that can be approached. So I still disagree with him on virtually every policy position that he's taken. But in the context of when the bar is so low that you're comparing yourself to Sam Page, I think Brian Williams makes a lot of sense from the Democratic side of things.
Good morning, Bill. Gabe here. So bouncing over to federal politics, the president wants a new census. Now, he tried this his last term. The courts kind of said, hey, by the way, this is for Congress to do. Do you think there's enough impetus for Congress to actually get this done to keep illegals off of our census rolls? Yeah, this is another one of those issues that it's just amazing to me that we actually have to have this conversation as part of our national discussion. But the fact is that the border policy that was put in place by Joe Biden, by Barack Obama, the Democrats, for a majority of the past decade have created a scenario in the United States to where the number of people who are here illegally have made a pretty dramatic shift in the makeup of the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. In fact, I was reading last night that because of the presence of illegal immigrants and the fact that they were counted in the last census, 13 seats and 13 electoral net votes were transferred to blue states because of the presence of people who shouldn't be here in the first place. Now, the founding fathers who set aside doing the census once every 10 years never, ever could have imagined that here we would be in the early 21st century having a border policy that would reward individuals who weren't supposed to be here in the first place. They never could have imagined that. So what Donald Trump is trying to do is trying to, in a very straightforward manner, address
a problem that is crippling really America and losing and diluting the voice of actual American citizens in the process of their government. So certainly I think that the president has shown he can be very successful when he works with the House of Representatives up in Washington, D.C. I think he's going to have a lot to say and a lot of input into the Senate. I hope he gets it done because I don't know about anybody else, but I'd sure like to see the House of Representatives chosen based on the distribution of actual American citizens across these United States.
Right now, does the Republican majority in the House and the Senate and Congress have the backbone to actually do something that's this obvious even?
I think in the House of Representatives, yes. I think you saw that with the passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill. That was a pretty significant lift. So I think we saw that the House of Representatives is willing and has a tendency to work together. I'm not as convinced on the U.S. Senate right now because we're just barely over 50 and we always start with one or two defectors. So in fact, the One Big Beautiful Bill had to have a tiebreaker from the vice president. So I think that's the bigger question, whether or not he can get that through the Senate. But every time I think that Donald Trump can't do something, he proves me wrong. I mean, look at the story that came out of St. Louis City just in the past few days. Kara Spencer has come out and said that she's going to stop awarding city contracts because of the pressure that she's getting from the Trump administration to award those contracts on the basis of race and gender. So if Donald Trump can get some of the leftists in St. Louis City to act like reasonable people, gosh, what can he do up in Washington, D.C.? So you know what? I'm going to remain optimistic.
All right, we're visiting with former state senator Bill Eigel, obviously running for county executive in St. Charles County right now. Last few minutes that we've got, Bill, you were one of the founders of the Freedom Caucus in Missouri, small in number, but seems to be oversized in the influence based on those numbers. They're calling for a special session, obviously to deal with initiative petition reform, to deal with the congressional redistricting situation. We haven't heard from the governor yet officially as to what he's going to do on this, but what do you make of the call for this? And is this the right move to deal with these particular things before the next legislative session?
Yeah. So first of all, to your first comment, your first point about the Freedom Caucus, it is interesting that the makeup of the Freedom Caucus does appear to be a lot different than it was a year ago. But, one of the biggest legislative wins that we had last session was HJR 73. And guess who the sponsor of HJR 73, protecting life and putting it back on the ballot was? It's Adam Schnelting, member of the Freedom Caucus. So, and we saw that in previous years. The biggest legislation that would make it through the assembly was typically carried by members of the Freedom Caucus. Andrew Koenig was very well known for carrying big pieces of legislation. So the reason that the Freedom Caucus, regardless of its numbers, is able to have such an influence on the direction of our politics in Jefferson City is because they actually reflect the conservative values that all the Republicans were elected to in the first place. So they do a great job of messaging. And I think that's what you're seeing here on this redistricting. You see the Freedom Caucus once again leading the fight of talking about the need to bring us back to Jefferson City and really fixing one of the Rhino's biggest errors that were made a couple of years ago. And you guys know I was at the forefront of this conversation calling for a 7-1 map. Who could have guessed that the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. would be so close that the difference between a 6-2 and a 7-1 map in Missouri could have had a big impact, but that's exactly where we're at. So Donald Trump, when we talk about Donald Trump working miracles, if Donald Trump can now get the rhinos in Jefferson City to act like Republicans, that's one more miracle that nobody thought Donald Trump could do. I think it's the right policy because look at what's happening in states like Illinois and California. The blue states are not giving any quarter to the Republicans in those states. In fact, Illinois has a map that looks like some kindergartner just threw spaghetti all over a piece of paper. So I don't think that the idea that we have to be nice is a legitimate reason why we shouldn't do something to overcome one of the biggest errors that I've seen us make down in Jefferson City. So my guess is even the governor, even though Governor Kehoe hasn't said anything, my prediction is that absolutely Mike Kehoe is going to call that special session. He knows that he has to stay in line at a minimum with the Republican majorities for the next few years. And he's going, even though my guess is he's not going to be real happy about it because this isn't an issue that he'd really like to talk about. He's going to call that special session, and I suspect we'll see a 7-1 map coming out of the legislature in mid-September.
Okay, we're just over a year away from the primary election, and let's be realistic. The primary election in August is going to pick who the next county executive is in St. Charles County. Very red county, very conservative county. What's the update on what people should be asking you and your opponents as far as the top things in St. Charles County? Last minute or so we've got, Bill.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue that we're going to be talking about for the next year is property taxes, personal property taxes, the tax burden that a growing county like St. Charles County is feeling. We have a huge imbalance between the amount of residential and commercial property that we have in our county. So the burden is being primarily felt by homeowners who are struggling to pay their property taxes and their personal property taxes. I came out yesterday and we're going to be unveiling a plan that my mission as the county executive of St. Charles County is that we're going to be the first county in the state of Missouri that's going to effectively get rid of personal property tax, and people in this county are going to own their cars. And then we're going to pivot from that to starting to reduce the regular real estate property tax burden in our county. And I see St. Charles as a real leader for this state. So folks are already excited about that message. We're generating a lot of energy so far, but this goes back to a relationship that I've been blessed with St. Charles County for more than a decade that I've been in the public view, and I'm very excited about getting this conversation going over the next 12 months.
All right, 314-912-1019. Give us a call if you want to get involved in any of these conversations. We got a lot of ground to cover today, as usual, right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Jamie Allman here, tossing and turning over retirement worries. You're not alone. 3 out of 4 Americans share your concern about having enough saved. But here's the thing. A comfortable retirement isn't out of reach, even if you're planning for 30 or 40 years ahead. Every day, Jeff Portman from the Gemini Wealth Group helps people avoid the critical mistakes that can derail their retirement. Build your path to financial confidence. Visit GeminiWealthGroup.com or call Jeff directly at 314-888-0123.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
Who needs a vacation? Are you ready for an unforgettable getaway? Start packing your bags because Branson, Missouri, the vacation and entertainment capital of the U.S., is calling your name. For just $99 per person, here's what you get. A full 3-day, 2-night stay in a luxury resort hotel, a delicious full breakfast buffet every morning you're here, and when you call right now, free show tickets worth up to $100. That's right, free show tickets to an award-winning show on us. You don't have to leave the country for an amazing vacation. You can drive or fly to Branson and have an incredible time. Whether you bring in the whole family or just planning a romantic escape, this trip is built for you. We guarantee you'll love Branson. This is not a timeshare. It's just an unbeatable vacation deal for only $99 per person. You book now, you can use your tickets anytime this year. You don't even need to know your travel dates to lock in the special price. Hurry, because this offer won't last long. Call our Branson vacation experts today.
800-547-5331. 800-547-5331. 800-547-5331. That's 800-547-5331.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Tale of two memorials in St. Louis. So both were to honor men who had basically nothing in common except skin color. That's a key factor in all of this. So guess which of the men get honored in all sorts of gushing coverage from the media and which one is barely noticed? Yeah, I'm going to get to that in just a moment here. It is 5:47 right now. I'm Mike. That's producer Jerome here. Real quick, I'm going to call this a quick pro tip. I think most people know this. I got one of these in my social media feed the other day, and it was actually from one of the good conservative organizations, the American Center for Law and Justice, which, you know, they go to court and they fight for conservative causes, and you know they're the good guys. But it was one of those, look at all these terrible things that the left is doing. Sign our petition to stop them. Okay. I don't care who you get that from, whether it's an email or a text, or you see it online, or it's in your social media. Whenever an activist group says, or a think tank or whoever says, sign our petition, That petition doesn't mean squat, and it's not going to anybody. All you're doing is voluntarily adding your name and contact information to their fundraising list, which they will turn around most of the time, not all of them, but most of the time they'll turn around and sell that to other organizations to help raise money for theirs. So if you see that and you see people clicking on there and thumbs up, and I just signed it. Okay, listen, you're not stopping anything with one of those petitions. It does not exist. It's not like they go to Congress and go, look at all these people who signed up for this. Look at this. You better change your ways. No, that is nothing but fundraising. And all you're doing is voluntarily making sure that you're going to get spammed in your email. Or if you're actually dumb enough to put your real phone number in there, you're going to get text and calls from basically everybody after that because you volunteered that information.
I have fallen for one of those in the past. I was a much younger person.
Back in your 20s.
Yes. Don't remind me. I'm already feeling the 30s, okay?
And you've been in your 30s for like 4 days now.
Yeah, it's already hitting. But yeah, so that's a good point. So is it the same with like the handwritten petitions? Because I thought
no. If you're out somewhere and they're like, hey, sign this petition, we're taking it to City Hall, that's probably going to go right to City Hall.
But having anonymous123@hotmail.com on your petition is not going to get Congress to do anything?
Nope. Okay. Not going to do a darn thing. And if they're saying sign this petition to get this on the ballot or to put this independent on the that's typically valid. But when you see it emailed to you or you see it on social media and they say, click this link and sign our petition, it's complete BS. And I don't care if it's from a conservative or from a leftist group. It is complete BS. Listen, ACLJ does really good work. Don't get me wrong. I like what they do. And if you say, you know what, I want to donate money to them, good for you. Fantastic. You're helping the cause in your own way, but don't bother with those complete BS petitions. They're just utter nonsense.
I mean, it's kind of a clever method, though.
Oh, it is. Yeah, because you're like, I'm making my voice heard. No, you're not. You're making your bank account heard. That is all you are doing. And then you're gonna sit there and go, why am I getting all these spam emails? Wait a minute, who's this group? Most of these groups, and I don't know if ACLJ does it or not, but that's one of the ways that they generate revenue is they rent or they sell their marketing content list.
Oh,
and because others they can't get one that big. Hey, we want to use yours one time. Okay, it's X number of dollars. Here you go. And that's one of the ways they raise money. Now they're raising money to do good stuff. Don't get me wrong. But I just absolutely hate the dishonesty of it.
Yes.
And our side does it too. It is dishonest because they make it sound like sign this petition and we're going to take this to Congress, and boy, the president and Congress are going to pay attention to you now because you clicked on our link and signed this petition, and they will ask you for money when you sign it, which is fine. You don't get money unless you ask for money.
Yeah.
Hey, can I have $5? No. Okay. Well, anyway, it didn't hurt to ask. I'm just saying that it is one of those things where if we want them to stop using those dishonest tactics on either side, just don't fall for it. Just don't fall for it. It does nothing whatsoever. So, I mean, if you will put in Wile E. Coyote, Roadrunner Way or something like that, I guess that's funny, but it's not going to actually do anything. So anyway, I just want to get that on my chest and just remind everybody of that, and it kind of drives me nuts when the good guys do it too, which they do. All right. 5:52 right now. Okay. So we're going to get this a little bit later on. By the way, we are going to check in here in less than an hour, about 40 minutes from right now, with our own Tim Jones. He and Chris Arps are in Israel. They are in Jerusalem right now. So we're going to hear from Tim at 6:35. Yes, we're going to preview what's coming up, but they got a tour of some of the most key Holy Land sites today.
Ooh.
Regardless of which Abrahamic faith that you're coming from, these are crucial areas to people, whether you're evangelical Christian or Catholic or Jewish or whatever faith it is. Tim got to be there today.
Wow.
So I'm going to ask him about that. We're going to check in with him right around 6:35 on that. Okay. So I noticed over the weekend, there were 2 memorials because this past weekend marked the 11-year mark of Michael Brown getting himself killed. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I started seeing the headlines, what's called the Black Ball Gala, which is a activist, fundraising thing. And I saw Channel 5's coverage of it, which it's going to be bad if it's Channel 5 doing it, because KSDK is not a news organization. They are not a journalism-based organization. They are a pathetic left-wing activist group right here in St. Louis. That's what they are. And their story, their coverage of it really lived up to that. It was gushing about, continuing the fight for justice. And, it's been 11 years since Michael Brown was shot and killed by police, and they were hoping to raise $50,000 for this foundation, that was founded by Michael Brown Sr., who now oversees it, who, by the way, wasn't rearing his own kid, because Michael Brown Jr. lived with his grandmother, as we later found out. So Michael Brown Sr. is milking this for all he can, all he can get out of it. And go ahead and, by the way, tell him I said that. He's certainly welcome to come on this show so we can expose him as the grifter that he actually is.
Yes.
But nowhere in the story did it point out that Michael Brown Jr. got himself killed by committing a crime, and he was actively attacking a police officer at the moment. Nowhere in the article did it point out that the Obama administration, under Eric Holder as Attorney General, investigated this twice and found that the police officer was justified and that he was acting in self-defense, and that all the evidence showed Michael Brown attacked him. Unprovoked, by the way. And yet 11 years later, we're still having black tie, black ball gala memorials to honor Michael Brown and be inspired. And now there's a permanent memorial on Canfield in his honor to inspire others. This is who you're looking up to, St. Louis? Really?
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't need coffee when I'm here to go on a rant at 5:30 in the morning.
Oh my goodness! Did they happen to mention anything about the march that took place that resulted in those injuries to Officer Brown?
What's funny is that's the other memorial that happened, is that there was a small gathering in Ferguson led by some clergy, and Officer TJ Brown's sister had a sort of a not even memorial, because he's alive and he's recovering. He's still trying to gain function of his body, but to thank the community for their prayers and for their financial support. I mean, I gave to the GoFundMe for Officer TJ Brown, and that got a little bit of coverage. That got 2-3 paragraphs in a couple different articles. The Michael Brown Memorial, the whole story, whole article, gushing adjectives. The not memorial, but the sort of gathering to support, called a day of healing for Officer TJ Brown. Just the basic who, what, where, when, why, and a couple quotes. That was it.
Wow.
That was it. That's St. Louis media for you.
That is absolutely unbelievable.
I want to cuss so much right now at 5:56 in the morning.
Yeah. No, oh my goodness.
Yeah. You're just like,
I am. Okay. So I'm from the Chicagoland area, and I understand idiocracy to similar extents, but the fact that the person that everything you just said about the case, and I believe Wesley Bell was actually involved in the case as well with Michael Brown.
He was an alderman at the time.
Okay.
He had not been elected prosecutor yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so I don't want to say what better way to honor a thug than by being a thug and attacking a cop that was trying to.
Yeah.
But it is absolutely ridiculous that this is one of the officers that is exactly like the left, wants cops to be very proactive in the community, very regulatory with their very temperament with their policing. And that's what happens. They get knocked over, they get head trauma, they're put into a coma, and now they're permanently recovering. Nothing said about that, though.
Right. And by the way, the articles noting the support for Officer TJ Brown, nowhere did they go out of their way to point out a black police officer, but Michael Brown Jr., that's the black man shot by police. That's the coverage that we had over the weekend. Pathetic, particularly KSDK. Pathetic.
NewsTalkSTL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Bunny Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Bunny Radio every weekend on NewsTalkSTL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeBunnyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Why leave your company's story to chance? In today's digital world, video content isn't just an option. It's essential for your success. At Blue Ocean Media Group, we've spent decades crafting compelling visual stories for businesses just like yours. From concept to completion, our award-winning team transforms your vision into powerful video content that connects with your audience and drives results. Don't trust your brand to amateurs. Partner with Blue Ocean Media Group. Visit BlueOceanMediaGroup.com today, and let's bring your story to life.
This is a 100-year catastrophe, and it's just so horrible to watch.
Questions.
There have been some 850 rescues.
Are we raising the right ones?
The Trump administration is making deep cuts to weather forecasting.
You have to look at the Doge-Trump cuts.
Will we ever get answers?
Nobody there has said anything about that they didn't get everything that they wanted immediately or that they needed.
St. Louis's place to talk about it.
What happened? Why did it happen?
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. President Trump pledging to make the nation's capital city safer and more beautiful than ever. Mr. Trump planning a news conference in a few hours, labeling it a press conference on crime and beautification. The FBI sent agents into the streets of D.C. over the weekend. Flooding rain swamping the Midwest cut short the Wisconsin State Fair. They had to cancel the final day of the fair. Australia, the latest country to announce plans to recognize a Palestinian state.
Foreign Minister Penny Wong says Australia couldn't keep waiting for the end of a peace process that's ground to a halt before recognising a Palestinian state.
So last April, our government started a conversation with the Australian people about changing Australia's approach. We made clear we would recognise Palestine when it would best contribute momentum to peace. September is that time.
Wong adds, it's been more than 77 years since the world promised a Palestinian state, knowing that there cannot be lasting peace for both peoples without a two-state solution. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says Israel has no choice but to step up its military offensive in Gaza.
Look, maybe some choose to forget October 7th. We will not forget what happened. And we will do whatever it takes to defend our country and defend our people, defend our future. We will win the war, with or without the support of others.
And the Prime Minister says that Hamas must be crushed once and for all. Friday is the day, Alaska the place. President Trump will meet with Russia's Vladimir Putin to talk about an end to the war in Ukraine. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures have turned mixed now. The Dow futures 97 points higher. On NASDAQ futures are down 2 points. S&P futures up 5 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
Hi, my name's Neil. I have some advice for you if you've been trying to break free from credit card debt. You can start by doing what I did. Get your bills together and call Trinity Debt Management. Trinity is dedicated to helping people like me become debt-free. When I called, my first experience was a feeling of relief. My counselor was kind, and best of all, she didn't judge me. In just a few minutes, she helped me figure out a plan that consolidated all my bills into one lower monthly payment. This substantially reduced my high interest rates and put me on the road to success. In the end, I saved thousands in interest, and today, my credit card debt is a thing of the past.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Neil. Take it from someone who's been there. Call Trinity and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. I am eyeing a rain chance today. It's a lower risk for some storms, but morning or afternoon could see that scattered activity. Otherwise, temperatures expected to be near 91 degrees. Another toasty afternoon, but feeling a bit hotter once you factor in that heat index. Tuesday is much of the same, but eventually we'll see temperatures drying out by the end of the work week. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stiefel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stiefel financial advisor at stiefel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Fall is here, and Daniel's Farm and Greenhouse has everything you need to make your yard shine. From vibrant mums and fall blooms to pumpkins, gourds, and seasonal containers that will make your neighbors jealous. Need trees, shrubs, or vegetables? We got you covered with 15 greenhouses of full quality plants, mulch, soil, and winter protection supplies. Our family knowledgeable staff is here to help you 7 days a week. Daniel's Farm and Greenhouse, family owned and your outdoor experts. On Juggerman and St. Peter's and at danielsfarmandgreenhouse.com.
For 93 years, R&R Ace Hardware in St. Clair has been your family-owned destination. We're more than hardware. Find Carhartt clothing, gifts, toys, fishing gear, and fabric all under one roof. 4 generations of small-town service with big store selection. R&R Ace Hardware in St. Clair. Worth the drive.
R&R Ace Hardware in Sullivan isn't your typical hardware store. It's a destination. Find Carhartt clothing, home decor, toys, fishing gear, and fabric all in one place. Proudly woman-owned with unique finds you won't get in the city. R&R Ace Hardware Sullivan. Worth the drive.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stiefel. Request a portfolio review from your Stiefel financial advisor at stiefel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Mike Ferguson.
This is the kind of adventure I usually have to force upon us, and here it is, falling into our laps.
Gabe Phifer.
They're buying it.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
Watch you pop a squat, son.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
All right, a former Missouri congressman is packing his bags and heading across the globe. This is a weird kind of story here.
Okay.
I should say a former Missouri congressman who has been a guest on the show a couple times, a few times, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, a little bit later on today, a gala affair raises money to honor a criminal who attacked a police officer, par for the course for St. Louis.
Oh, okay. So,
yeah.
Happy Monday, everybody.
I think you caught the tail end of that when you were coming in.
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah, exactly. And a Missouri lawmaker says state bureaucrats are abusing their power, and he's calling for a showdown at the Capitol. It is 6:06. I'm Mike. That's Gabe. That's Jerome. Let's dump some news on you here.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The Morning News Dump.
All right. Did you hear about this? The construction on Alligator Alcatraz is now paused. You heard about this, right?
No.
Okay.
What's going on?
A judge ordered a pause on the remaining construction, saying that there's a chance that it violates environmental protection laws.
Oh, shut up.
This was the tactic that was brought by a bunch of leftist activists.
There's a pre-existing thing there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they're adding like some fences and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Florida Attorney General, his name is James Uthmeyer, was on the Fox Report, and he calls the lawsuit judicial activism. Here's what he had to say.
Just like no Florida state jails have to go through this federal NEPA process, we don't have to either. So we're going to continue to fight back. We will appeal any rulings that we disagree with. Ultimately, this is judicial activism, trying to stop what the Trump administration is doing.
And there's another separate lawsuit against that facility, arguing that the illegal aliens being held there are being deprived of their constitutional rights.
Okay, so they have a constitutional right, what, to a pre-built prison instead of a temporary one?
Apparently.
Shut up. Just go away.
Exactly.
Morons.
Oh, good Lord. All right. Okay. That didn't last long. Former Missouri Congressman Billy Long is removed from his job as IRS administrator.
What happened?
I don't know.
Wait a second. When did that happen?
Yeah, he'd been on the job less than 2 months.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like that's very recent. Recent appointment.
President Trump plans to ship him off to the Nordic part of the globe. We're being told Long will be the new ambassador to Iceland.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's a demotion, people.
Is it? Well, yes. Functionally a demotion.
That's a demotion.
But in terms of what you get to do, maybe it's a promotion.
Oh, it'll be more fun.
That sounds better.
Here's the question I'm thinking is, you've been in there less than 2 months.
What did you do?
What did you do, Billy?
What did you do?
Because you remember Billy was on the show when he was running for Senate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and he was like, if you love the Trump train, get on the Billy bus.
Mm-hmm.
And so he gets the job as IRS administrator. And that was a fight to get him confirmed.
And then it's like, all right.
Heave ho, you are going to Iceland.
What the heck happened?
I don't know what happened, but that's what's going on.
Not sure we'll
Billy.
ever find out.
Oh, good Lord. All right. I am going to report on this one. A gathering honored the sacrifice of Ferguson police officer TJ Brown made as he recovers from his traumatic brain injury. Officer Brown was injured by Michael Brown-inspired rioters a little over a year ago. Sunday's Day of Healing and Prayer included remarks from local pastors and Officer Brown's sister, and they were thanking the community for the support that he and the family have received. It looked like a few dozen people showed up for that, and that happened in Ferguson on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Well, you know what? At least you got something going for the guy who actually deserved some honor, some respect.
Yeah.
But I hear that there's some other activities.
We're going to talk about the Black Ball Gala. That was a gushing worship of Michael Brown Jr. That happened.
A tale of two Browns.
Yes, exactly. All right. Amid the ongoing controversy over Texas's redistricting, which obviously is affecting Illinois now, California Governor Gavin Newsom announced on Friday that his state is going to hold a special election in early November to put its own redistricting plans before voters. Meanwhile, Vice President J.D. Vance was on Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo to talk about the congressional redistricting overall. And he says California gained House seats by allowing illegal immigrants to enter the state.
They get rewarded for welcoming illegal aliens into their state, giving them federal benefits, actually asking the taxpayers of states like Ohio to subsidize them. And then those same taxpayers in Ohio and Indiana and elsewhere, they have fewer congressional representatives because of what California has allowed to happen.
Okay, so here's one of the reactions to this. Congressman Kevin Kiley, who's a Republican in California, is proposing a bill to ban mid-decade redistricting overall throughout the country, regardless of whether it's a red state or a blue state.
I think the sort of domino effect, this arms race where one state after another is going to be reshuffling their lines. So we essentially have rolling redistricting. I don't think that's good for Democrats or Republicans. There are really no winners in this arms race.
Okay, I like how he put it as an arms race.
Yep.
Congressional redistricting is typically done every 10 years after the results of the U.S. Census is released. So I think that Congressman Kiley, and I've actually never heard of him before, that seems to be, I think, a good approach.
Yeah, I think so too.
To say, all right, everybody is going to disarm on this. You can have the gerrymandering fight once every 10 years.
Yeah.
That gives you 10 years to make your state more attractive or less attractive to everybody. Because right now what's happened is the states have figured out that you know what, there's nothing that says we can't do it, every 5 years. Well, by that logic, there's no reason you couldn't do it every 2 years,
right?
Every 4 years,
every year,
and or every year.
Why not?
Right.
Let's just fight about it every year. Now, of course, this isn't going to impact the current redistricting fight, right?
Well, as far as the one in Missouri.
Well, nationwide.
Nationwide, yeah. Because I mean, the earliest anything like this could be passed would be later on in the fall, but there's no way the president's going to sign it because he wants the gerrymandering on the Republican side, just like the Democrats want the gerrymandering on the Democratic side.
Right. So this is more like it's going to come in kind of like a post-war detente situation. Yeah. So it's like, okay, we're done fighting now.
That's right.
Everybody settle down.
That's right.
Like we'll only fight every 10 years now.
Yeah. So, but I think that he's adding something to the conversation that is a solution that everybody should be able to go, okay, well, what about this?
Yeah, we'll agree to that.
Yeah. All right. By the way, we're going to talk to Congressman Eric Burlison about this and other stuff at 8:35, just to let you know here. All right. ICE agents arrested an illegal alien who's accused of sex crimes against children, by the way, just hours after Rhode Island police released him from custody. Did you see the video on this?
Oh my gosh.
The ICE agents had to stand outside the police building, and when he was walking out, and it was the security camera, and they rushed in, with the guns drawn and everything. ICE is accusing law enforcement in Rhode Island of not honoring their detainer. On Fox's The Big Weekend Show, acting ICE Director Todd Lyons says immigration officers should have an easier time in cases like this.
It took almost 5 agents to make that arrest when we could have just went inside the facility and took that, child sex offender into custody. They didn't cooperate with the detainer.
Okay, so another ICE spokesperson told Fox News Digital that the illegal alien in question here, he says that person poses a clear threat to children based on their, frankly, past behavior.
You got to believe that the police officers in these various states who have to deal with this garbage are frustrated.
Yeah,
I mean, I couldn't fathom being the guy who has to release the child predator, back to the streets because of the craziness, the open borders bullcrap coming out of my state legislature. Yeah. I couldn't imagine being that guy.
Okay, here's something you can nerd out a little bit early on. This is my Monday morning gift to you, Gabe. Okay. So NASA is planning to build a nuclear reactor on the moon.
Yes.
There is. See that, Jerome?
Yes.
This is about time. This is after China reportedly unveiled their own plans to build a power plant there by 2035.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Congressman Mike Herodopoulos of Florida was on Fox News Live to discuss, basically the United States doing this on the moon.
We must win the space race, not just for communication, but for national defense. That's why I'm so bullish on this. We made a big investment in the big, beautiful bill, $10 billion additional dollars to NASA to make sure that we are first in space. And that means we have the #1 military in the world as well.
Okay, so the U.S. wants a nuclear reactor to provide power on the moon before 2030. So they want to beat China there by 5 years. Why does this matter, Gabe?
Well, you want to,
and are you planning to move to the moon?
Eventually you want a base there.
Okay.
I don't have particular plans of moving there. My plans are generally about being a prospector on Mars, but that's a whole other story. I'm planning on joining the Martian Pilgrims.
Yes.
But yeah, we should have had a base on the moon since forever ago. Space dominance is essentially air dominance plus.
Okay.
So America right now, we rule the skies in terms of military capability, right? There's nothing in the air that could defeat anything that we put out there.
If you have any question about that, just ask Iran right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And now, of course, that extends to space because ultimately our communications come from there. The way we navigate everything comes from there. There's so much in space that are assets of America, but we don't have really a military or a surveillance presence in there to the extent that we should have based on the progress we were making there in the space race. We're about 40 years late to have a power plant on the moon, but I'm glad we're finally getting there.
All right. Cardinals get the series win over the Cubs at Busch Stadium this weekend. That wrapped up with the Redbirds' 3-2 win Sunday night. The Cardinals had 2 of their 3 games with the Cubs on national television, Saturday on Fox and Sunday on ESPN. The Cardinals were completely embarrassed Saturday. They got crushed, and then they turn around, and Sonny Gray got his 11th win of the season last night.
It is no more. And all at once depart, no destination. Making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. Mike Ferguson. Gabe Phifer. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
You'd like to win a full season of mosquito and tick protection? Tim Jones here, the new Mosquito Nix team in St. Louis, celebrating their launch with a bite-free backyard sweepstakes. One lucky family will get their entire yard protected. 10 others will get a free fogging treatment just for entering. Call 636-698-1980 now to enter. 636-698-1980. Keep your yard safe and your summer itch-free. Service area restrictions do apply. Mosquito Nix, offers permanent, automatic mosquito and tick protection. It's not just fogging, it's real coverage you don't have to think about. They've already helped over 40,000 families nationwide take back their yards with their automatic mosquito control system. Visit mosquitonix.com to learn more. That's mosquitonix.com, 636-698-1980 to enter the backyard sweepstakes. Keep your yard safe, your summer bite free, 636-698-1980.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
All right. Are we going to see a showdown in politics over property taxes next year? It looks like we might. This is going to be interesting. And it's not just about, getting rid of them. It's about the establishment versus the politicians who are feeling the heat from people just like you. All right, 619. Before we get into that real quick, we got is it Dave, right?
Yeah, we got our friend Dave.
Dave, you are on News Talk STL again, my friend. What do you think?
Hey, good morning. Hey, thanks. There's two smart guys in the room. That would be Mike and Jerome. But the genius in the room, Mike. I'm yelling at the radio. Somebody asked Gabe, damn it! And you asked Gabe, and Gabe, you didn't let me down. On your worst day and on my best day, I can never touch you, sir. I'm bowing now to your feet. Thank you for being so smart, my friend. And see, for the racists out there, black people can be smart too.
And my ego is gigantic.
I was going to say the size of his head is now like growing like crazy on this.
There's nothing wrong with having a large head. I wear like a size 50 hat. So. Hey, I called about that phenomenal Father of the Year, Mike Brown Sr.
Yeah.
Now, I will say it's a tragic anytime someone dies, okay? Mm-hmm. It's a tragedy. But when you put yourself in the place of trying to disarm a police officer, and Darren Wilson wasn't a tiny guy.
No.
Okay, wasn't a small fella. But compared to Junior, he was. But the one thing that I never heard anybody ask, and there's only a few people in St. Louis that would ask him if they had the chance, and I'm not talking about you guys. Nobody asked him, well, why didn't you and mommy raise this kid? Why was he in grandma's house?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you come back to the well twice for money when you pissed all the money away?
Mm-hmm.
And probably one of the two most important questions, why did your ex-wife beat her own mother up? And why was your son beating up a little Asian guy that was maybe about 5'4", and your son's 6'4", 6'5", 300+ pounds? I never heard anybody ask that. And then you have the Ferguson mayor bowing down and kissing his feet and kissing his ring. Sorry, you know what? I agree with you. Tragedy, the kid got killed. But you know what? If you just stay on that little concrete thing that they call a sidewalk, all of that could have been avoided.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And keep in mind also at one point his mother was literally there were lawsuits involved over who got the profit from the merchandise sales.
Merch.
Yeah,
there was merch.
There was merch sales. They were suing each other over who gets the money, capitalizing on his death.
And Mike, you nailed it. All the news stations in this is me talking, not News Talk. All the news stations in St. Louis are horrible, but Channel 5 is the worst.
Yep.
Did you hear anything about the soccer stadium from any of the local news stations? I did.
Fox 2 finally covered it. Fox 2 did a story on it, but I didn't. I don't know if anybody else did, but Fox 2 did it like 3 or 4 days later.
I know this for a fact that I know this for a fact that, and I'm not going to mention his name, but the story was proposed to the sports director at Channel 5, and he declined because I guess there wasn't a jock from the sniff in it.
Hey, Dave, thanks so much for chiming in, man. I always love having you on the show, man. Thanks so much.
Dave, thanks, man.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
All right. Okay,
Dave
so
always coming in hot.
Oh man, is he ever? That's been, man. We're out of the gates fast today.
Yeah,
There's
really.
no warm up today.
We've already got a rant from Mike and Dave coming in with off the top rope on people.
All right, we mentioned this a week or so ago, and this is becoming a thing here. A key Missouri lawmaker wants the state tax commission put back in its lane. In other words, one of our elected officials. Frankly, when you got a lot of pressure from the grassroots conservatives around the state over property taxes, he's now calling out the bureaucrats who want to double down on property taxes. So it's about the property taxes and it's about bureaucrats versus us.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's what's going on. The Missouri Tax Commission, and I told you about this, a week ago, maybe, something like that.
You pretty much broke the story.
Yeah, I found the story on Missouri Net to be fair.
Well, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but the appointed bureaucrats of the Missouri Tax Commission, it turns out that they are threatening local tax assessors, which are usually almost always elected.
Right.
I say usually because there might be some places where it's appointed, but generally speaking, county assessors are elected. And so the Missouri Tax Commission has sent them all these memorandums of understanding telling them you will increase the valuations of property.
Right. Yes.
You will do that.
Yes. Because especially now, because they're trying to jack up some of the, especially ahead of the senior tax freeze.
Right. Exactly. And here's the thing, and I was wondering, I'm like, why would so many of these county assessors sign off on this and agree to it? I mean, why would they do it? The tax commission doesn't have the authority to tell them that. They're just a bunch of bureaucrats.
Right.
And this is a real wonky thing that normally you'd never talk about, but there have been several assessors who have said, no, we're not signing on to this. The tax commission, the state tax commission, is threatening to withhold state reimbursements to those counties unless they sign in and agree to increase the valuation determinations, which basically means you will have these property values assessed in this range in order to raise the tax bill.
Yes, that's the intention.
Right, because if you raise the valuation, you raise the amount that the bill is going to be.
Right.
And most of the tax assessors have rolled over and they've signed on to this. So State Senator Tony Lutkemeyer, who's basically the number 2 guy in the state Senate, and he's one of the good ones, and he says we're going to have to go after the state tax commission and put them back into check.
Yes, absolutely.
And so this is going to be a thing because what you have are the bureaucrats who are saying, we're not going to get enough money at all levels of government because all the plebes, all of these peasants, they want to keep their money and they don't like the fact that we're taxing them and we're making them pay us rent on stuff that they already own.
Yeah, it's a shame that they managed to get some relief from the tax burden we placed upon them. So we must increase it for all the rest.
Yeah, so essentially you've got some bureaucrats in deep red Missouri who are saying government first.
Yep.
And people need to shut up and be taxed more. And what's happening is your voices are being heard to your lawmakers. And if you haven't already got in touch with your state rep or your state senator and said, we need property tax relief. We need property tax freezes. We eventually need to get rid of this property tax altogether. But you need to put the pressure on. And enough of you are that now the heat is being felt in the bureaucracy, and the people who aren't accountable to anybody, the people who aren't elected are going, well, we're going to double down and tell these elected officials, you're going to raise taxes. Now they're going to say you need to increase valuations to the standard range. But the end result nakedly is we need to raise more taxes.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
That's the point of it.
Yeah. And so you've got local officials, unfortunately, rolling over to state bureaucrats, nameless, faceless bureaucrats on a commission who are appointed. And then you've got a few, like a dozen, who said, no, we're not doing that. And so then the threat comes, well, then we're going to withhold reimbursements for you. We're going to defund you unless you do this to raise taxes on your people.
Yeah. State Senator Nick Strober, who you can hear on Stand and Fight and SR1 Sundays, he's actually one of the people championing right now. We need to get rid of property taxes as well. And so hopefully more of his constituents join that fight as well. But what would realistically, because I'm not a tax attorney, but what would it look like to be able to get away from that? Because in my mind, it would make sense just raise the sales tax. Maybe we start a GoFundMe account for the state of Missouri, something of that nature. But
no, it would have to be more of a consumption tax.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at, for instance, highways and roads are paid for how?
Gas tax.
Gas taxes. You use it, you pay for it. And then there were government who said, wait a minute, these cars are getting way too efficient. We need to raise the taxes. And so
because they're not using enough gas.
Right, because they're not using enough gas. And so, but that shows you users pay for it, and it's more efficient that way. Matter of fact, in North County, like 12 or 13 communities just came together and voted to approve a new sales tax to pay for roads and streets in their town. So that is one way to do it. Another thing is, in Missouri, they have to come down off of the hangover and stop getting drunk on money in Jeff City. And they've got to stop spending so much money. I am so tired of Republicans, because Democrats are irrelevant in this conversation, of Republicans bemoaning the increase in the budget when they're the ones in charge.
Right. It's like, yeah, I'm voting for this increase, but man, don't these increases suck?
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute.
But yeah, this pet program in my district, we're going to make sure that's there, but we've got to cut spending.
Got to cut spending.
Then cut it everywhere.
Yeah, seriously.
There's very little that should not be cut to some degree. I mean, if you went and told every single department and every single line item, you need to cut spending, you're going to be at 99% of last year's spending.
Right.
99%.
They would
you would have wailing and gnashing of teeth.
Oh yeah, they would.
State.
They would be talking about the shutdown of services.
Yes.
They was just like, no, we can't function.
People are going to die.
Yes, exactly.
Why do you hate the children?
The world's going to end.
You racist.
Cats and dogs living together.
Transphobe.
Mass hysteria.
Illiteracy is going to reign.
Exactly. Oh, the wailing and gnashing of teeth. Exactly like you said would happen. And it's crazy.
All right. We have got some special afternoon shows coming for you this week from the Middle East, from Israel. Tim Jones is there. I caught up with Tim just a few minutes ago to get an update on what's happening. And he's already had a really eventful day with him and Chris Arps in Jerusalem, in Tel Aviv and in Jerusalem. We're going to hear from Tim excuse me, in about 4 minutes.
And don't forget, you can hear the entire show on your own time or share highlights with your friends, family, and even your enemies by using the NewsTalkSTL podcast. You can get that on-demand listening through NewsTalkSTL.com. And also at 6:35, we got a special report, like you said, out of the Middle East.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
People talk about federal money as if it falls from heaven. You know, we thank heaven for it, but it came out of people's pockets.
On Newstalk STL. If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
Download the all-new Newstalk STL app.
Love the all-new Newstalk STL app.
It is awesome.
And listen anytime.
Love the Newstalk STL app.
Anywhere. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. I am eyeing a rain chance today. It's a lower risk for some storms, but morning or afternoon could see that scattered activity. Otherwise, temperatures expected to be near 91 degrees. Another toasty afternoon, but feeling a bit hotter once you factor in that heat index. Tuesday is much of the same, but eventually we'll see temperatures drying out by the end of the work week. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Report cards are a good way to show how well your kids are doing in class and where they might need improvement. We at the Show Me Institute believe schools should get grades too, so parents can see how their child's school compares to others. That's why we came up with the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on categories such as student performance in English language arts and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district has a grade, and the website is easy to use. And now we've added spending data for every district, so parents, taxpayers, and policymakers can see where the money is going. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Kathy Connor from Connor Roofing is here. Kathy, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Vic.
You know, when you need a roof, I don't want to call a stranger. I want to call you.
Yeah, thanks. At Connor Roofing, we're more than just a roofing company.
How long you been doing it?
Since 1993.
And year after year, storm after storm, you guys are always there.
Because this is our home too, Vic. Our kids go to school with your kids. We cheer for the same teams. Go Blues!
So support your neighbors. Call Connor Roofing at 314-375-7475 or CONNER roofing.com.
Thanks, Vic.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at intervine.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Monday, Tim and I are in Israel, but Patrick Toohey from the Show Me Institute fills in, and his guest at 420 will be former Senator Jim Talent.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Chris Arps from the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Make sure that you're listening to our show this afternoon from 4 to 6. Now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
We told you last week, Tim Jones, Chris Arps are going to be broadcasting from the Middle East, and they're going to bring us up to date on what's happening, not just in the war between Israel and the Hamas terrorists in Gaza, but also they're going to get firsthand accounts. They're going to be meeting with some of the most powerful and important allies that we have in the Middle East. And while they are there and while they're going to be broadcasting, and just a few minutes ago, I had a chance to check in with Tim, who's in Jerusalem right now. And here's what he had to say just literally a few minutes ago. Hey, Tim, thanks so much for checking in here. Of course, you just got to Israel. I saw on your social media that you kind of were doing that pinch yourself moment. First, give me that reaction. You get off the plane. You are in the Holy Land. I know what that means to you personally from a theological perspective. We've talked about that over the years. What's it like right now knowing that you are there? I mean, right there in Israel right now, before we get into all the stuff you and Chris are going to be doing this week.
Mike, I would say, first of all, thanks for having me. Hello to St. Louis and all of News Talk STL Nation. Because Chris and I are here, you're in for a real treat this week, Mike. I will doubt that any other station in St. Louis or maybe in the Midwest has two Israeli correspondents this week for regional radio. So thanks for being able to get a hold of me. Astounding and overwhelming were the two words that have been in my mind, Mike, since I got off the airplane from Newark, New Jersey yesterday around 4:30 p.m. local time. We are 8 hours ahead of St. Louis. And from the moment you get off the plane, as you drive from Tel Aviv, about 45, 50 minutes, depending on traffic, into Jerusalem, Mike, you're overwhelmed by centuries of history. It's like walking through a History Channel or Discovery Channel documentary with every single step you take. And it is a blend of centuries of human civilization. And as you referred to, of course, the religious significance of actually walking, more likely than not, in many places today, literally in the footsteps of Christ.
To Chris, and you are going to be doing your show, obviously, from Israel here at least a couple times this week. We're going to hear a lot from you directly. And you're actually going to be meeting at some point with our ambassador to Israel, with Mike Huckabee. Tell me what the business side of this. I mean, why is it that you and Chris are actually there? This is part of our trip with our friends from Newsmax as well. But what are the things that are going to get done while you're there?
Yeah, so Mike, the title of the trip, as you pointed out, is the Newsmax mission to Israel. And, you know, it's because of the strength of this station, a station that's not even 5 years old yet, the vision of Jeff Allen and Joe Rush and all of our amazing hosts like yourself and our executive producers and everyone who makes this little engine that could run. It's because of the talent that we have here that we have these connections. Chris and I were invited by Newsmax to join their first mission to Israel, along with senior media and influencers from all over the country. There's about 40, 45 of us here. There's Newsmax contributors. Our good friend John Gizzy is here. There's our friends from the Daily Signal here, some Heritage Foundation folks, and of course, folks independently in other realms of media. And we have 3 people from St. Louis here: Chris, myself, and Stacy Washington. So St. Louis is well represented. And the idea is to introduce us to and immerse us in all things Israel, from the secular to the theological and everything in between, so we can take these stories and these impressions back to the United States of America. And the first thing, Mike, I want to say is, first of all, thank you to Newsmax. Second, you wouldn't have known that there was a war here barely, 6 to 8 weeks ago. It is very much busy, business as normal here in the middle of the Middle East. The streets are bustling. The traffic is everywhere. It's like being in any other major metropolitan center. It's as hot as heck here, just like I know it is back home in St. Louis. It's the middle of summer here still. The people, the Israelis that we've so far met, they could not be more grateful that this American delegation is here. They are so thankful to President Donald J. Trump and to, I'm going to just be honest, to the Republican Party for standing by them through this time of need. They are thrilled that Iran has finally been put back on its heels. And the Israelis say, we appreciate the help, but we're also going to be the ones that lead on this and do what needs to be done to have a new renaissance here in the Middle East. You can feel that revolutionary kind of feeling here as a new Middle East is being restructured all around us. And yes, we expect to be meeting with Ambassador Huckabee. We expect to be meeting with the president of Israel, with Isaac Herzog, and Bibi Netanyahu is also on the schedule for later this week, assuming that he doesn't get called away with some other urgent matter.
Hey, Tim, we're visiting with Tim Jones, our afternoon host, along with Chris Harps, who they are in Israel right now. So, Tim, real quick, I mean, because there's a lot of people say, why is this different than any other part of the world? I mean, we don't want to be the world's policeman. That's been a conservative position for a long time, but we do have vital national interest around the world. So what should we look at differently with Israel and everything with Gaza and Iran and everybody that's trying to kill and destroy Israel? What's different there from American interest perspective than other parts of the world?
Well, first of all, Mike, yes, I agree. We should not be the world's policeman. And the Israelis aren't asking for that. They are asking for the assistance that we've provided them throughout the last many decades. Not much more than that. Yes, Donald Trump did take it to the next level with the B-2 bombers, but the Israelis will tell you that they have plenty of military might and strength and intelligence and know-how. Thank you very much. They want the U.S. to simply continue to be the partner it has. And why is this important? Well, do I need to underscore the fact that this region that I am currently in is one of the major crossroads of human civilization? This is where it all began, and it is still extremely critical. Trade routes, and of course, you have major exports and import situations here. Yes, you have situations involving some of the world's biggest commodities with agricultural groups and oil, so on and so forth. Israel is also the only true representative democracy in this region. They are the shining city on the hill in the Middle East. Now, some of the other Arab nations, thankfully, are coming along. Nations that we also do have much better relations with now, like Jordan, right? We have had a major change in Syria over the last few years, with Iraq. And so I think what the hope is, the Israelis simply want the Americans to be the good friends and allies that we have been since 1948 and to continue that in the future. And you definitely have one political party in the United States of America under Donald Trump right now that wants to continue that alliance. The Democrats, they seem to be very conflicted on this. This used to be a bipartisan issue. And to kind of underscore that and the hope for bipartisanship might continue, Mike, as we were coming in yesterday, the U.S. House congressional delegation was wrapping up its tour from last week. We actually got to, we were not two ships completely missing each other tonight. one of the first people we saw when we got to the hotel here in Jerusalem was our good friend, Congressman Bob Onder. He and his wife, Allison, had been here with a group of other congressmen, and they told me both sides of the aisle were reflected. And I said, well, have the Democrats learned anything this week? And Allison Onder said, Tim, I think they have. And there was very much a feeling of bipartisanship when you have a U.S. congressional delegation on foreign soil. That's how it used to be in the old days. And Mike, perhaps we can hope for that optimism once again.
I've just got a minute or so left here, Tim. Okay, so tell me what we can look forward to with your shows this week. Obviously, Patrick Tuohy's in for you all today. But what are you going to be bringing to us this special from Israel? And also, just real quick, any concern about security and safety while you're there? Because obviously we see everything filtered through the media here.
Yeah, first of all, we feel very safe and secure. Like I said, business is back to normal here in Jerusalem. Jerusalem is also considered one of the safest cities in the Middle East for everything I just described. This is where all the cultures come together. The Muslims are here. The Christians are here. The Catholics are here. The Jews are, of course, here. Everyone's here. And so there's kind of an unwritten rule that there's no fighting in Jerusalem. It's kind of like the safe space, so to speak. Chris and I are hopefully going to be heard from today. We're going to be doing our little segments we do to kind of give everybody a little teaser. So look for Chris's Corner and the speaker's stump speech. God willing, the technology works and we're able to get that to producer Joey today. We hope to be broadcasting live on Tuesday and Wednesday evening, and then we'll have a best of on Thursday. We're going to bring you so many experiences and the knowledge and the wisdom that's been imparted to us up to this point. And that will include all of our experiences in the Holy City today. We were inside the old city walls. Mike, as a lifelong practicing Catholic, to walk in the footsteps of Jesus up the stairs in the Church of the Resurrection, also known as the Holy Sepulchre, up to where Golgotha, where Calvary was, to see the slab on which the body was laid, and then to see and to walk inside the tomb where the resurrection happened. Mike, the emotions were they were hard to contain today. Everyone in our group, I don't know that there was a dry eye.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine there. All right, Tim Jones from Jerusalem in Israel. Look forward for updates later this afternoon. And then, of course, the program, Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show, later this week from Israel. Tim, thanks so much for checking in. Be safe. We'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
Thanks so much, Mike. Yes, and the IDF and the Israeli police forces, they're with us along this route as well. We're keeping safe. We're keeping secure. We're making sure we come back in one piece, and we'll bring plenty of experiences and stories with us. Thanks so much for having me, Mike. Really great to check in with you.
All right. Once again, Tim Jones and Chris Arps are going to be broadcasting from Israel later this week. All right. We're going to bring you up to date on what's happening around the region and around the country with our news dump just ahead right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hi, Kirk Hilsinger here. I'm the new chairman of the St. Louis Republican Central Committee. I invite you to our meetings that take place the first Thursday of every month at 3710 Hampton Avenue. You can stay connected with us to learn more about how you can get involved, make your voice heard, and contribute to our shared goals. Together, we can make a difference in the city of St. Louis and the state of Missouri. For more info, visit our new website at stl-gop.com. That's stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Hey, looking for windows that solve your problems and actually add value to your home? Renewal by Anderson. Anderson products increase your home value by at least 15%. Right now, get $329 off every window, $729 off every patio or entry door, and ask about our zero interest plan for 3 years. Renewal by Anderson, the full-service replacement division of Anderson. That's a name you've trusted for more than 122 years. Renewal by Anderson has FiberX frames, 20% stronger than vinyl, built to last. It's why we have more 5-star reviews than anyone in St. Louis. And only Renewal by Anderson backs it up with the nation's best warranty. Schedule your complimentary consultation, rbastl.com, or call 877-WINDOWS, 877-WINDOWS. Renewal by Anderson, superior products, exceptional service.
Are uneven concrete surfaces causing you headaches? Polytime Concrete Leveling and Restoration has the solution. We're a veteran and family-owned business offering long-lasting solutions for all your concrete problems. From precision concrete leveling to our superior restoration services, our precision polyjacking outperforms traditional mudjacking any day. Call Polytime at 636-487-3282 for a free estimate or visit itspolytime.com. Mention Newstalk STL and get $125 off any job of $600 or more, or 10% off your service.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, this is Jefferson County Councilman Billy Crow with a reminder to check out our new show, Jeffco Patriot Radio, this and every Sunday at high noon. Now, back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
All right, former Missouri congressman packing up his bags. He is getting shipped across the globe. This is so weird. And a gala affair, I want to talk about this a little bit later on. A gala affair raises money to honor a criminal who attacked a police officer. I'm not letting this go.
This is terrible.
I'm just not letting it go. Par for the course in St. Louis, though. Yeah, there's so much slapping to go around on this. There are the grifters involved. There are the activists who are keeping the hate and the violence alive. And then there's the media who's giving them the cushy coverage. A lot of this to go around.
Yeah.
And a state Missouri lawmaker says bureaucrats are abusing their power. He's calling for a political showdown next year. We'll tell you about that. It is 6:48 right now. Let's dump some news on you here.
Wake up, America. It all worked out.
They got all the news.
The morning news dump.
Okay, let's get you caught up on something here first. The construction of Alligator Alcatraz in Florida is now left unfinished after a judge pauses construction via judicial order.
So stupid.
Yeah.
More lawfare.
So the judge says it violates environmental protection laws. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Florida Attorney General James Uthmeyer was on Fox Report this weekend calling that judicial activism.
Just like no Florida state jails have to go through this federal NEPA process, we don't have to either. So we're going to continue to fight back. We will appeal any rulings that we disagree with. Ultimately, this is judicial activism, trying to stop what the Trump administration is doing.
So yeah, you've got basically the environmentalist. I don't even know if they were probably just brought in as hired guns on this. This is the left just looking for something to sue about.
To be fair, though, it is very cruel to the alligators to pollute their habitat with illegals.
That's true. That's true. That's fair. That's fair.
You think they've got border guards of their own? There's like no illegals in my swamp, not in my backyard,
not in my swamp. Yeah. Oh God. All right, this is an interesting story. That didn't last long. Former Missouri Congressman Billy Long is removed from his job as IRS administrator.
What happened?
He just got there. He'd been on the job less than 2 months. President Trump plans to ship him off to the Nordic part of the globe. We're being told Long will be the new ambassador to Iceland.
Man, that it sounds like a consolation prize.
Yeah, basically.
It's kind of like, I don't actually want you in charge of anything important. So go talk to the
or something. I don't know, because we don't know why this abrupt change happened. But let's be honest, this is a demotion, and we are sending you far, far, far away.
That's what
and
it
it's
sounds like to
not
me.
like Iceland is a big hot spot for geopolitics.
Right.
So basically, you are on a long 3.5-year vacation.
Right. I mean, and it's not even Greenland, where you could argue that he would be key to negotiating its purchase. So there's nothing there. I mean, except I guess the Northern Lights.
Yes.
Now, just so he doesn't get lonely, maybe we should send some more IRS agents with him.
I'd be fine with that. Yeah.
Yes.
Give him some company.
Yes.
We just chop off parts of the IRS and send it to Iceland. That sounds like a good idea.
So something happened.
Yeah,
I don't know what
something
it is,
happened.
but something happened. All right. A gathering honored the sacrifice that Ferguson police officer TJ Brown made as he recovers from that traumatic brain injury. Officer Brown was injured by Michael Brown-inspired rioters a little over a year ago. So on Sunday, supporters had what they call a day of healing and prayer, and that included remarks from some local pastors and from Officer Brown's sister, who thanked the community for their support that he and his family have received. So there was a gathering to honor Officer Brown as he continues to try to recover to whatever extent he's going to be able to. That was over a year ago that he suffered that brain injury at the hands of those BLM / Antifa-ish / Michael Brown, right? Because it was a Michael Brown. It was the 10-year mark
It was
of
an
Michael
anniversary,
Brown.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a protest marking the 10-year anniversary, I guess, if you will, the 10-year mark of Michael Brown getting himself killed. And so that got out of hand, and they were attacking the Ferguson Police Department. And Officer T.J. Brown suffered that injury at the hands of those rioters. And yes, there was a black. They called it a black ball gala, is what it was called.
That's what they called it.
To raise money for a foundation in Michael Brown's honor. And now there's a permanent memorial to Michael Brown on Canfield in St. Louis.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about that. At
Oh, yes, we
7:35,
are.
But,
Yes, we
but
are.
To me, it's very much a tale of two Browns. Like one of them is clearly an honorable man, somebody who the type of person everybody in the country could get behind and laud for his work and his ethic and his family relationship. Like, it's all good things. I haven't heard a bad thing about that man. And then we've got Michael Brown, who is absolutely, there's every evidence points to him just being a vicious thug. And he's the one getting lauded.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me that the difference between how these two men are being treated in the media and among the quote unquote black community intelligentsia. So I'm tired of this bullcrap. We need to pick better leaders so we can have better examples being lifted up in the public eye.
Oh, more time for you to sound off is coming on this.
Absolutely.
By the way. All right. Amid the ongoing controversy over Texas's redistricting process, California Governor Gavin Newsom announced on Friday that his state is going to hold a special election in November, putting their own redistricting plan before voters in order to give Democrats more congressional seats there. So Vice President J.D. Vance was on Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo talking about the whole congressional redistricting war that's going on. And he says California gained House seats already by allowing illegal aliens to enter their state.
They get rewarded for welcoming illegal aliens into their state, giving them federal benefits, actually asking the taxpayers of states like Ohio to subsidize them. And then those same taxpayers in Ohio and Indiana and elsewhere, they have fewer congressional representatives because of what California has allowed to happen.
Okay, and Congressman Kevin Kiley, who is a Republican out of California, he's trying to add a new part of the discussion. He is proposing legislation that would ban mid-decade redistricting. This is from a conversation on the Fox Report.
I think the sort of domino effect, this arms race where one state after another is going to be reshuffling their lines. So we essentially have rolling redistricting. I don't think that's good for Democrats or Republicans. There are really no winners in this arms race.
Yeah, I like how he's putting that as kind of an arms race because that's what we've got. So he's basically saying, you know what? 10 years, every 10 years, we'll redistrict after the census, but we're not going to do this. You gain seats this time, so therefore we're going to redistrict to reclaim seats, and then you gain seats, and then I'm going to redistrict here. And I think that is a common sense approach that is never going to be considered seriously in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I mean, it is a valid commentary to say that Republicans are kind of crossing into new territory with the mid-decade redistricting over many states, and yes, it could be considered an escalation in the districting fight across the country, which was, I will say this, which was basically started and had been escalating from the Democrat side for a long time. This is very much a late response to that, but certainly after all of the fighting settles, after the dust settles after this round, kind of putting the genie back in the bottle a little bit with this sort of legislation, I think would be the right move.
Yep. All right. A key state lawmaker wants Missouri's legislature to put some bureaucrats in check, and it's all over property taxes. Yeah, the Missouri Tax Commission is basically trying to order local tax assessors to raise property valuations, and that's a technical way of saying that it would mean higher property tax bills would follow.
Yes, raise your taxes. That's what they want to do.
That's what they want to do, is they want to raise more tax money. The commission has sent memorandums of understanding to 88 counties and is threatening to withhold state reimbursements if they don't sign on.
That's the big part. That's where the teeth are, right?
Yep. So it's the defunding sort of thing. Senator Tony Lutkemeyer is now calling for the legislature to rein in what he calls abuses of power by the bureaucrats. And the only reason he uses that term is because it's abuses of power by the bureaucrats.
Yeah, no good.
So unless a special session is called to address it, any changes would have to happen in the 2026 legislative session. All right, the Cardinals get the series win over the Cubs at Busch Stadium this weekend. That wrapped up with the Redbirds' 3-2 win Sunday night. Sonny Gray pitched 7 innings, giving up just 1 earned run, and that was his 11th win of the season. Pedro Pajes hit a 2-run homer in the 3rd inning. The homestand continues tonight. The Rockies are in town to begin a series. Miles Michaelis is expected to start for the Cardinals. First pitch is at 6:40. As usual, you can see that game on FanDuel. 2 of those 3 games with the Cubs were on national television. Saturday's game was on Fox, and Sunday's game was the ESPN game of the week as well. So a lot of exposure for the Cardinals. And, well, they got embarrassed in one, and then they won the second one and came back for it.
Hey, Tony Colombo here with Tim Jones for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway, the #1 home selling team in the St. Louis area. And I can say that from firsthand experience. My wife and I were blown away from the results that we saw from working with Rodney and Jen, from selling our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible to finding our family's perfect new home. They over-delivered every step of the way. And right now, it's still very much a seller's market. So, Tim, for folks that have been thinking about selling their home, it's a perfect time to call the Wallners.
That's right, Tony. And don't forget, they're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois. So no matter where you are in the metro area, you can put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. The Wallners' experience and work ethic, second to none. And of course, the numbers speak for themselves. The Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. Right now, they're working with so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for my good friend Harry Parker and the ultimate seafood dining experience at Gulf Shores, GulfShoresRestaurantandGrill.com. Gulf Shores offering a unique dining experience with a vast, mouth-watering menu of all of your favorite delicious dishes, something for everyone's taste or palate. 3 convenient locations, Edwardville, Creve Coeur, and St. Peter's. Dine in, carry out. They've got a food truck, too. Friendly staff. Looking forward to seeing you, making your dining experience one you will remember. Gulf Shores RestaurantandGrill.com.
Looking for excitement, fun, and delicious food for the whole family? Piccadilly Parwan has it all. Savor our scratch-made dishes. Nothing frozen. Every bite a true delight. Roll into fun at Piccadilly Palace for roller skating, or race your heart out at Piccadilly Kart Racing. Join us for happy hour Monday through Friday, 4 till 6. Free select appetizers and drink specials. And don't miss our mouth-watering Sunday family dinners. Piccadilly Parwan on Audrey Lane in Union, Missouri, or online at PiccadillyPar1.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Parts of the Midwest and the Plains have been raked by powerful storms, bringing severe and deadly flooding. Wisconsin among the hardest hit states.
Heavy rainfall in half a dozen Midwest states over the weekend led to water rescues, power outages, road closures, and the cancellation of the Wisconsin State Fair's last day Sunday. National Weather Service meteorologist Andrew Quigley in Milwaukee says over 11 inches of rain fell in some areas.
So just a tremendous amount of rainfall in a very short period of time. And then to add insult to injury over a very urban and populated area.
He says closing the fair was the safe option.
Water up to cars, water getting under grandstands, just all into areas where it shouldn't be.
I'm Julie Walker.
Already tapping federal resources to fight crime in the nation's capital, President Trump set to expand on his D.C. crime-fighting agenda at a news conference in a couple of hours. Mr. Trump says he wants to make Washington beautiful and safe, stressing the need to jail criminals and get the homeless off the streets. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu insisting that Israel has no starvation policy for Gaza.
If we had a starvation policy, no one in Gaza would have survived after 2 years of war. But our policy has been the exact opposite. We let in, as I said, almost 2 million tons of aid and sent millions of text messages, millions of phone calls to Gazans to get out of harm's way.
Netanyahu defends Israel's stepped-up military offensive in Gaza, saying Hamas must be crushed once and for all. He says Israel has not forgotten the horrific 2023 terror attack orchestrated by Hamas and never will forget. Watching Wall Street, Dow futures up 120 points, and NASDAQ futures ahead 12 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
They say timing is everything in the gold and silver markets, and it's true. Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. Although you can buy at the right time, if you buy the wrong coins, you may not make a profit. When gold was $400 an ounce, many people were talked into buying high-grade old gold and silver collector's coins. Unfortunately, most of the people who bought these so-called semi-numismatic coins, like the $20 St. Gaudens and Liberty Head gold coins, have not broken even on their investment. Incredible, given that gold has risen approximately 525% since then. So while timing is everything, if you buy the wrong coins, the timing simply doesn't matter. Having a dealer who cares about positioning you in the right types of coins or bullion will mean more to your portfolio than anything else. That's why I deal with Nick Rovich and AmFed Coin and Bullion. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. Or go to AmericanFederal.com, AmericanFederal.com.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. I am eyeing a rain chance today. It's a lower risk for some storms, but morning or afternoon could see that scattered activity. Otherwise, temperatures expected to be near 91 degrees. Another toasty afternoon, but feeling a bit hotter once you factor in that heat index. Tuesday is much of the same, but eventually we'll see temperatures drying out by the end of the work week. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for O'Fallon Family Floors, O'FallonFamilyFloors.com. Brian and his team, they're just amazing people. They're so proud of their operation. Pride in every installation. You can see that in the Google reviews. Pride in the great quality, pride in the great pricing, pride in the great variety, and pride in the fact that you can go into the store right off of Highway K at O'Fallon, or the store will come to you. That's the promise of O'Fallon Family Floors, O'FallonFamilyFloors.com.
For over 50 years, Di Gregorio's Italian Market has been serving up a taste of Italy right here in St. Louis. Family-owned and operated, nestled in the heart of the hill. From homemade sausage and meatballs to spadini, pizzas, pastas, and sauces, our wide variety of Italian specialties will transport your taste buds straight to Rome. For a truly authentic Italian shopping experience, visit your friends at Di Gregorio's. Shop local, shop Di Gregorio's Italian Market, where every bite tells a story.
Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Phifer.
I triple saw stereo!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice. Drain the swamp and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now. Believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
All right, we touched on this Friday. Hundreds of thousands of voters' names removed from the rolls in Missouri. So we'll touch on why was that important, because you know the fact that I just said those words.
Mm-hmm.
Some pearls got clutched somewhere among leftists around St. Louis.
Oh, yes.
But let's talk about why that was important. And then more importantly, what's next as we batten down the hatches on our elections to make sure that they are as secure and accurate as possible. Coming up on 7:06 right now, got Gabe here, got producer Jerome here. My name's Mike, and we are now joined by Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins. Denny, good to chat with you again. Thanks so much for being on the program. I mentioned this in my news. I guess it was Friday, guys, I think is when I saw that. And that 200,000 plus names removed from Missouri's voter rolls. And in normal circumstances, and maybe we just need to give it some time, the left blows their stack, loses their mind. You know, how dare you do that? But there's really not a lot of anger because you laid out very clearly, here's why. What were the most common reasons that when you combed through these names, you found names that needed to be removed? What were the most common reasons for that?
Well, probably the most common reason of the 200,000 ineligible voters that we removed from the voter rolls was people moving to different states. And obviously with our two biggest states bordering, or two biggest cities bordering other states, St. Louis in Illinois, and then Kansas City in Kansas, we have a lot of people who move back and forth. And so that was probably the most common issue of why we removed those ineligible voters, because they moved away from Missouri and into those other states. But we also removed 43,000 deceased voters off the voter rolls and 4,000 felons off the voter rolls. If you're a felon here in the state of Missouri, you can't vote. And if you're deceased, obviously you shouldn't be voting in Missouri elections either.
I don't know. That last part sounds kind of discriminatory against the deceased, Denny.
Yeah, what would Democrats do?
I agree. That's right.
Good morning, Denny. Gabe, Phifer here. So one of the things that occurs to me too is about in other states, a lot of these things are automatic, at least in terms of getting them on to voter rolls. Like in Democrat states, basically, if you get a driver's license, you're automatically put onto a voter roll. Could we have something similar, but kind of in the other direction, where if you put in your change of address at the U.S. post office and it's out of state, then you would automatically be removed from the voter rolls? Is that a step too far?
No, I don't think that's a step too far. That would be an automation procedure, and most certainly that's something that we could look into. I know that this is, President Trump in his executive order that he issued on elections in March of 2025. This was one of his biggest things, is maintaining voter list maintenance, and we want to make sure that we only have eligible voters on our voter rolls, and so that was one of my focuses on during the campaign. I hired a director of election integrity to focus on this right out of the gate. And this isn't a one and done thing. Obviously, people move all the time. People die all the time. People turn 18, and can register to vote. Unfortunately, we have people who commit crimes and become felons and can no longer vote. So this is an ongoing maintenance that we have to do here in the state of Missouri. Missouri state law says that voter maintenance shall be maintained regularly, but there's no definition of regularly. Is that once a day? Is that once a year? Is that once every 10 years with the census? So it's something that we have to constantly be focused on.
Okay, so as the chief elections officer, now that you've been, in the job for a little while, what do you think is the right pace to go through and comb through those voter rolls to make sure that they're updated? What makes sense logistically and from that integrity perspective?
I'd say probably monthly look at those voter rolls, and especially focus on that before elections to see if there's any anomalies that come up, but probably no later than quarterly. So at least every 3 to 4 months doing that. Right now too, we're looking at the SAVE database and working with our federal counterparts so we can take our voter registration list and match it up and compare and contrast it with the SAVE database. Now, SAVE database it's kind of a misnomer. It's not actually a database. It's a combination of several different databases, as far as the Social Security Administration database, the ICE database, the Department of Homeland Security database, and it runs a query. Now, what we're trying to do and what we're really focused on is we only record the last 4 digits of a voter's Social Security number when they register to vote. And so that's kind of how we log that. However, it's tough to compare and contrast that with the SAVE database because they don't have just the last 4 digits. And so we're working with our federal counterparts, and so we can hopefully within the next couple months take our voter registration list, compare it with the SAVE database, and then it will be able to tell us if there are non-citizens that are registered to vote, and those that they have questions on, then we can do some further investigation here in the state of Missouri.
Is there a possibility of leveraging new technologies like AI and kind of using them to assess the voter rolls and the constant movement of people that we have through the state?
Most certainly, yes. The AI, I know AI is beyond even my imagination of what AI can do. But yes, we would love to be able to work with AI. And I know that there's some companies out there that are utilizing AI in order to help maintain those voter roll lists, as well as using AI to identify non-citizens on those voter rolls that may be registered to vote. And so, yes, most certainly I'm not opposed to any form of AI and any technology that we can use in order to maintain our voter registration list.
Now, in the lead up to our discussion, Mike mentioned the clutched pearls at at the removal of some names. Are you expecting any significant pushback from the various advocacy organizations that are out there just looking to muddy the waters?
I'm sure there will be some, maybe especially once we start using the SAVE database. But I will say that, working with our local election authorities, both Republican and Democrat, they have been very accommodating since January 13th when I took over, working with us in order to maintain their voter roll list. And so, elections should be nonpartisan as far as election results and declaring who won and making sure that there's election integrity. And so we've had overwhelming support from both our Republican and Democrat colleagues, county clerks, as well as local election authorities.
We are visiting with Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins. And Denny, so then the question, and you've touched on a lot of this, so we look at what's next. You talked about the maintaining of the voter rolls. The voter rolls are one aspect of it. The other part is obviously making sure the elections are run well, and there's only so much you can control because local election officials have to do so much. But are there any areas to improve the accuracy and the counting and the timeliness? I'm one of those. I would rather wait for accurate results than rush to get wrong results and have a bunch of drama and a problem. But what's the next step when we have so many people who demand almost immediate results, whether that's feasible or not?
Well, we're really focused on Trump's election executive order and all the things in there. And so some of those things are to make sure that when you register to vote, you have to provide proof of citizenship. And so that's one of the next things that I'll be working with some of my legislative colleagues on, is because right now, in order to register to vote, you just check a box that says, hey, I'm a citizen, and that's it. You don't have to show any proof. We've had two other states that joined Arizona that require proof of citizenship in order to register to vote just this past year. One's Wyoming, and the other's New Hampshire. And so I'm hoping that Missouri will become the fourth state this next legislative session in order to require proof of citizenship in order to vote. And then I have questions about the machines. In Missouri, there are 4 election machines companies that are certified. They're in state statute. It says that, hey, these are the things that the Secretary of State looks at in order to certify those election machines. And so I have some concerns about the election machines, but only the legislature or the county clerks can actually mandate hand counting of ballots. We used to hand count ballots in states before we had the election machines, before the 2000 election. There's process and procedures actually in state statute, in state law that says, hey, if you're going to hand count ballots, these are the process and procedures and a checklist that you have to go through. However, like I said, only the legislature or the county clerks can do that. In lieu of not hand counting ballots, we're looking at some other things as far as post-election audit software. And these post-election audit software companies actually look at the ballots. They don't scan a QR code or a barcode, because I don't know anybody that can read a QR code or a barcode. I certainly can't read barcode, but actually the county clerks upload those images of the ballots. And then these post-audit election software companies that are not affiliated, not owned by any of the election software companies or election machine companies can go through and count those ballots. And then we can compare and contrast the results from election night to these post-audit results and see if there's any discrepancies.
All right. Secretary of State Denny Hoskins, really appreciate the time today. One real quick thing, because it's such a local interest right here. Your office reviewed the complaints that were sent in about County Executive Sam Page in St. Louis County using taxpayer funds to campaign against Proposition B. That's out of your hands now. You referred it. Obviously, the Attorney General agreed with what you all found. What's the bigger picture on this? Because what he did was a more extreme version of what a lot of government entities actually do and spend money trying to sway a vote. I mean, is this something that there's a chance we could start really cracking down in Missouri? And that, to me, is also a part of election integrity.
Oh, no, I totally agree. Yes. And as far as ballot issues go and campaigns, we see this a lot with school districts and things like that, where they're trying to pass a tax levy. They can use taxpayer dollars to educate the public, but they can't use taxpayer dollars to persuade the public in order to vote yes or no. And unfortunately, with Sam Page's office, it appears that a lot of that mailers that were sent out were of a persuasive nature. They weren't an educated nature, just trying to educate the public on what exactly it would do. It seemed like they were very persuasive, and that's against the law. That's against the law here in the state of Missouri in order to use taxpayer dollars in order to persuade voters to vote one way or another or support one candidate or another. It's just supposed to be for educational purposes only.
All right, Secretary of State Denny Hoskins, appreciate you being on top of that. Of course, we've already tagged you on our social media, but people can find your website real easy. It's just sos.mo.gov.
That's right.
All right, Denny, we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Yep, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, 314-912-1019. You're going to love this next story.
Oh, yeah.
It just cracks me up.
I saw it in the show sheet. I was like, what is this about?
Yeah.
What is this?
Okay, so one of the questions I'm going to ask is, would you go to a restaurant that is a thematic restaurant, which can be fun? I sent you one the other day that I know you would love. But if it honors a politician, all right, but this went wrong in so many ways.
Oh, no.
We'll tell you about it just ahead.
Also, did you know that we have a live stream that you can stream through Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and other methods that you can also have on your smart TVs or hook up your laptop with an HDMI cord to your TV if you don't have a smart TV. So you can watch us all morning long, join us, and see all the amazing graphics and even the guests that we spoke to, such as our last one.
Colombo and Company.
Join us every day for conversations with a wide variety of guests as we keep you informed and up to speed on all the important news and headlines you need to know.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on NewsTalkSTL.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 9 on NewsTalkSTL 1019. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hey, it's Jamie Ullman here with my good friend Rob Very, St. Louis Bath and Renovation, STLBR.com, and you've got some things with which to wow our people.
Are you tired of cleaning on Saturdays? Let us help you out. Zero grout, zero maintenance products for you and your home.
And you want to talk to people.
Absolutely. You can find us at www.stlbr.com. Send us your info. Book a quick 5-minute phone call with us. We'll see if we're able to help you out.
St. Louis Bath and Renovation, supporting free, common sense, conservative radio, STLBR.com.
Thanks, Jamie.
Newstalk STL, the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise, and the Young America's Foundation welcome Steve Forbes to Lindenwood University for an inspiring evening on how free enterprise and entrepreneurship make America great. Discover how free markets and small business drive innovation, prosperity, and opportunity. Thursday, September 18th at Lindenwood University Scheidegger Center for the Arts. And this in-person event is free. Reserve your tickets now at HammondInstitute.org. Brought to you by Mid-Rivers and West News Magazines.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new NewsTalk STL app.
Love the all-new NewsTalk STL app.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy, Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, this is going to be an interesting little aside here, guys, before we get into this topic here. While Tim and Chris are in Israel, they're preparing to broadcast their show from the Holy Land this week. Patrick Toohey filling in this afternoon, and then Tim and Chris, I believe the schedule is their show is from Israel starting tomorrow. I think is when that's going to happen here. But here's what's going on. Here's what's going to be really interesting. Tony Messenger is going to be Patrick's first guest this afternoon.
Tony Messenger.
Tony Messenger will be questioned on News Talk STL at 4:05 this afternoon.
File under things I never thought was going to happen.
Never thought was going to happen. Tony Messenger on News Talk STL. And I talked to Patrick a couple days ago, and I told him, I said, I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be absolutely fascinating to have Tony question. I've actually known Tony Messenger a long time. I actually knew him back when he was writing for the Columbia Daily Tribune back in the day. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I think it's going to be fascinating with him being on News Talk STL this afternoon.
Now, for people who don't follow the St. Louis Post disgrace, let them know exactly who Tony Messenger. Like, so when we say Tony Messenger,
Tony,
there's a message behind
that. So
that.
for years and years and years, Tony was arguably the top State House reporter in Missouri, in the Capitol, when he worked for the Columbia Daily Tribune. He worked for the Springfield News Leader. Then he got hired by the St. Louis Post Dispatch, and he then got into editorial and investigative writing. He's actually been awarded a Pulitzer Prize a few years back.
Yep.
But you know, he's very far left, and without a doubt. And of course, he gets into spats with conservatives all the time. And so that's what's going to make this really interesting, is Tony being on News Talk at 4:05. I have no idea what Patrick's going to talk to him about, but I think it's going to be fascinating. So you do not want to miss that. All right. Okay. So let's see here. Did you know that there's a Trump themed restaurant in Texas?
I did not know this. Now, I'm not surprised that this is a thing. I mean, but okay. All right, Trump themed restaurant.
Would you go eat at a Trump themed restaurant?
Depends on what their food's like.
It's a burger place. It's a burger joint in Houston.
I might.
I mean, a burger joint in Houston is probably going to be pretty good no matter what.
I'm very persuadable by the pictures of the food. So it's just like here's a gigantic burger with like fried onions on it or something like that. It's like, okay, all right, yeah, I'm there. I can do that.
So I guess it's been a couple of years ago.
I'll eat a Biden burger too.
I mean,
whatever.
But that's the funny part. I saw that, and it's not about Trump, but it's about it smells like strawberry shampoo.
The Biden burger just sounds like it's old and dried up.
Yeah.
It's actually a chicken
served
sandwich.
Served to you by the Easter Bunny. So there we go.
Lead you to the table.
To me, it's like it's not because it's Donald Trump.
Right.
It's like any restaurant that's named after a person to honor a person after a politician.
Yeah.
Is weird to me.
Well, yes.
Weird.
Now, to be fair, Donald Trump was a major personality prior to his presidency.
Yes.
So even if he was never president, I could see there being a Trump burger.
It's still
place.
called Trump Burger. Yeah. Now, I don't think he has nothing to do with this. Trump doesn't actually own this. I'm surprised that there wasn't a lawsuit of some kind.
It's like, hey, you can't use our name to do that.
I have eaten at restaurants that are named after people.
Sure.
Like I ate at a restaurant down in Florida once that's named after Shoeless Joe Jackson, the baseball player.
Okay, yeah.
My whole team went there. Why? Because it's called
Shoeless Joe.
Okay,
that makes sense.
So there are themed restaurants. I sent Gabe over the weekend. It was a Star Wars themed restaurant.
Yes.
Where was that?
Oh, I can't.
Was it Florida?
I think it was Florida.
Or maybe it was Texas.
It might have been Florida.
Now those kinds of restaurants, I'm all about.
Oh, it's got movie memorabilia everywhere. Love that stuff.
So here's the funny part, and I say funny part. It's not. It's sort of. It's funny.
Okay. All right. Is this where the story turns left?
This is the curveball I'm going to throw you.
All right.
So the owner of the Donald Trump themed burger joint in Houston, facing deportation because he's in the country illegally.
Okay. All right.
I'm not making this up.
So I'm on their Yelp page right now, trying to, if you're watching the stream, like you should be, you'll be able to see it. But yeah, these individuals don't look very, very traditionally Texan.
No.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
So Roland Bieni is a Lebanese immigrant.
Okay.
According to ICE, he was supposed to leave the country by February 12th, 2024 and overstayed his visa.
Oh my gosh. When did he open this restaurant?
It
doesn't say.
I don't know. Yeah.
Does a Yelp review or tell us when it was started or something? Little about us history page on this website. Let me look this.
So here's what ICE says. ICE says Biani is a 28-year-old illegal alien from Lebanon who entered the United States in 2019 as a non-immigrant visitor, but he failed to depart by February 12, 2024, as required under the terms of his admission. ICE officers arrested him on May 16, 2025, and he was placed into immigration proceedings on June 13th. An immigration judge granted his request for bond while he undergoes his proceedings. So he's fighting deportation under the Trump crackdown, and he's making his living selling Trump burgers.
Founded in 2020, we bring bold Texas-sized burgers with authentic Southern flavor across multiple locations. Trump burger.
So you've got an entrepreneur, which is right up Donald Trump's alley.
Oh, yeah.
But you got an illegal alien who is totally not up Donald Trump's alley.
Oh, my gosh. This is amazing. Okay. Do you think, because Donald Trump has mentioned that his willingness to give a pass for certain illegals,
which is wrong.
But obviously, we're not with that. But do you think he gives a pass to this guy?
Okay, here's the thing. The ICE statement goes on to say, because it answers that question. It says, under the current administration, ICE is committed to restore integrity to our nation's immigration system by holding all individuals accountable who illegally enter the country or overstay the terms of their admission. This is, again, statement from ICE. This is true regardless of what restaurant you own or political beliefs you might have.
The Trump Tower Burger is a monster 1 pound double patty version of our signature burger for the truly hungry.
Wow.
And the First Lady chicken sandwich is grilled chicken, white American cheese, teriyaki, and mayo stacked with fresh veggies. That sounds tasty.
I mean, if you're this guy and you're that big of a Donald Trump fan, why not get your
papers
immigration
in order?
stuff done? You had 5 years,
Seriously. This is amazing. I don't know. Now, is it possible that he's just a franchisee, or is
he owns it?
He's the owner of the franchise, because it says it has multiple locations.
Right now, he may be franchising on other stuff.
Okay,
but this is like his thing. So he sets up a Trump. I'm sorry, that's funny. It's hilarious.
There are 4 locations.
Yeah.
Belleville, Texas, Flatonia, Texas, Houston, and Kemah, Texas. He's got 4 locations,
which means he's selling a lot of Trump burgers.
He's selling a lot of Trump burgers. It's founded in 2020, so they're doing well.
They're doing really well, and restaurants are hard to succeed.
It's hard to sustain, let alone franchise.
Yeah, and now I will point out that he's succeeding in Texas, where they did not do the shutdown nonsense during the COVID years.
That's true. Oh man, so the irony is not lost on us.
No, not.
But I wonder who's going to inherit the restaurants when he has to go away.
Oh my goodness! Now maybe he'll get a place in line to come back, but dude, no exceptions, man.
Yeah.
The cups that they sell actually look kind of cool now that I'm looking at them. They sell like these little thermoses. So
I don't
know.
Oh yeah, with the little cartoon depiction of Trump in an apron. Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah, they tried to stop me, but not from ordering extra fries.
Is his fist in the air post assassination attempt? Is that what we're looking?
Oh my goodness! Milkshakes.
Oh my god,
man,
that's amazing.
Also, Larry willingly declares that he is crazy, or is he?
Oh, we all know here.
Stay tuned for Larry Connor's commentary coming up.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. I am eyeing a rain chance today. It's a lower risk for some storms, but morning or afternoon could see that scattered activity. Otherwise, temperatures expected to be near 91 degrees. Another toasty afternoon, but feeling a bit hotter once you factor in that heat index. Tuesday is much of the same, but eventually we'll see temperatures drying out by the end of the work week. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Back pain? Follow me to Esquire Sports Medicine, where they've got your back. Esquire is the oldest sports medicine clinic in St. Louis. Dr. Draghi and his team of chiropractors can get you back to work, back to life without the pain. New patients usually scheduled within 24 hours. 314-644-0885. 644-0885. EsquireSportsMedicine.com.
Larry Connor's Commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit VincentsJewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's Commentary on News Talk STL.
I, Larry Connors, hereby willingly admit that I might be crazy, or at least mentally challenged. Why? Well, because I truly cannot find any rationale for what some of the leftists are doing. And the two latest examples just convince me. It's not them, it must be me. Or is it? First example, starting in 2027, kids in the Illinois public schools from grades 3 through 12 will be given a mental health screening each year for evidence of anxiety, depression. Now, if the kids need help, I want them to have it, but this is not going to help. This is labeling these kids, following them through the rest of their years. Then you got Nancy Pelosi, age 85, well past the age of a 12th grader, but she has the brains of a pumpkin. She's devastated. The largest healthcare providers in her state will no longer provide transgender surgery to anyone under the age of 19. And Nancy says that decision is sad. I don't think so. So who is the crazy one?
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
I want to tell you more about Wellington Environmental's dustless blasting services. Wellington can blast paint, grease, graffiti, even stripes off parking lots. Truly amazing and powerful. But can Wellington blast something more sensitive? Yes, Wellington can use dry ice to blast soot and odors off smoke-damaged surfaces right after a fire. Currently, Wellington uses dry ice to clean mold off wood inside a home. Why? Well, dry ice immediately disappears, turns into a vapor. That means no mess to clean up, no damaged surfaces. You need to check with Wellington, always researching and practicing with new, better, faster, safer equipment and products for you. And it's very easy to schedule an estimator for your next project. Call Cindy, 314-644-4930, 644-4930. Be well with Wellington.
Beat the summer heat with Johnson Heating and Cooling, your trusted local family business. We specialize in residential air conditioning service, furnace and AC replacement, new construction, finished basements, room additions, and energy-efficient geothermal systems. At Johnson Heating and Cooling, our motto is simple. We treat our customers like we want to be treated, with complete transparency and honesty. Call 636-332-4141. That's 636-332-4141.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Good morning, St. Louis. Hey, it's Vince from The Vince Show right here on News Talk STL every weeknight at 8. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
All right, brace yourself for this one, guys.
Yeah, we had a good laugh with the Trump burger stuff, but now you're going to make me mad.
Yeah, Gabe, we're about to unleash Gabe here.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was called the Black Ball Gala. All right, the Black Ball Gala honored who supporters say is a hero and a role model for Black St. Louis residents. Anyone want to guess who that honoree is? But I'll give you a hint.
I can tell you who it should be.
Yeah, but I'll give you a hint.
Mhm.
It's not Ferguson police officer TJ Brown.
Mhm.
No, he suffered a permanent brain injury in the line of duty over a year ago at the hands of Michael Brown inspired rioters who were marking the 10-year mark of Michael Brown getting himself killed.
Mhm.
No, the Black Ball Gala was to honor Michael Brown because this weekend was the marking 11 years since he got himself killed by a Ferguson police officer. And I was looking at the coverage on this, and you know what? KSTK, well, I've said it before, I'll say it again. KSTK is not a news organization. It is not a journalism-based anything.
It's a propaganda system.
It's a total left-wing propaganda entity. It's just some of the worst local media here. I would even say KSTK at times may even be worse than the public media here in the area.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm looking at their article, and I put myself through it so you don't have to. And it starts off by saying it was 11 years ago today when Michael Brown Jr. was shot and killed in Ferguson by police. Period. End of story. End of statement. End of sentence on this. And then it went on to say, 5 on Your Side's Andy Kroll visited the new memorial in his honor and annual ball commemorating more than a decade of community-driven work inspired by the life and legacy of the 18-year-old.
Life and legacy.
Life and legacy. Life and legacy.
Right. Yes.
And,
so this guy has a legacy now, an annual ball in his honor.
Yes.
Right. And a memorial. Like basically a statue, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, there's a more, and they're bringing like benches with his name. So there's now a permanent memorial of some kind to him there.
Now remind us what exactly he did to garner such fawning honor.
Yeah. So, and it's good that you asked that question, because guess what's not in the news story? Nowhere in Andy Kroll's article here is the fact that he was committing a violent crime attacking a police officer at the time he got shot.
Yeah.
Nowhere in here does it say that the hands up, don't shoot was a complete and utter lie, a complete fabrication. Nowhere in here does it talk about his stepdad at the top of a riot yelling, burn this MFer down. I mean, nowhere. It's all gushy. Look at this high class black tie gala. We're honoring the life of this life cut, too short, too soon. And all of it is this gushing, look at this wonderful inspiration he left behind. It is absolute complete garbage, and every St. Louisan should be embarrassed by KSTK and embarrassed by reporter Andy Kroll.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I don't understand. I mean, and let's go beyond the report, just the reporting of it. Because I'm going to get into the social commentary of this. I don't understand the quote unquote black community's love affair with some of the worst examples of the black community in that we could find, who somehow managed to get golden coffin memorials and statues and balls in their honor, even though they're just violent thugs who show the worst of the black community to the entire world on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this is in the face of TJ Brown, a different Brown, who was a Ferguson police. I mean, he's a Ferguson resident, right?
Right. Yep.
Police officer who, by all reports, I have not heard one bad word about this.
You remember we had former St. Louis County Police Chief Tim Fitch on about a year ago.
Yeah.
And I did not know this until Tim told me this, because he knew Officer Brown.
Yeah.
Officer Brown was with the county police, chose to go to Ferguson to be a police officer to help his community in the wake of all of this.
To make a difference. And the thing is, this was in the midst of the Ferguson effect, right? So police were demoralized. The various legal entities from municipal governments to state governments to, we're all, and the media were all against police.
Right.
So there was a lot of demoralization. There were a lot of people who were moving out of communities like Ferguson in order to go to the county, in order to go somewhere else where they could be more appreciated and more supported and everything like that. The fact that he basically ran towards the career fire, it says so much more about that man's character.
Yeah.
He was a family man. You see him with these smiling pictures of him with his daughters and everything like that. There's everything to laud about him as a black man in a society that for some reason keeps wanting to raise up these thugs. And what he gets is a bunch of white people honoring him.
Yeah, it was called, here's another part of the story here. And I'm reading, unfortunately, from KSDK's nonsense on this. The black ball on Saturday night also allowed for moments of reflection and support to, quote, keep the fight alive, according to organizers. Quoting here, his life is not about how he died, but how we continue to live on in his honor. That's Melanie Marie, a change agent with the Michael Brown Sr. Chosen for Change organization. She's quoted as saying that is what this is all about. the 2025 Black Ball Building a Legacy is an annual benefit for the Michael Brown Sr. Chosen for Change organization. So his dad is raising tens of thousands of dollars by these basically pro-criminal activists who want to say, we're doing it for the community.
Yeah, they're doing it for their pocketbooks.
So can you imagine somebody trying to create a black tie gala in Ferguson for Officer TJ Brown, a police officer who was attacked by rioters who were rioting in the name of Michael Brown?
Yeah.
That wouldn't go.
No.
I mean, what you had was a few dozen people who showed up to show their support for the family of the police officer.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So look, this is the type of stuff that makes me really angry because the leaders in the community that's supposed to represent me, people who look like me.
Yeah, because I'm getting to that question.
Yeah. They're the ones who are lifting up the Michael Browns of the world and ignoring the TJ Browns.
Why?
I have no idea. I've never understood this stuff. Because in my experience, and what's funny is the more I live, the more I realize how unique my upbringing was. My dad was awesome, and my siblings are awesome, and we occasionally we gather via Zoom or something like that to discuss, just catch up. But one of the things that I'm realizing is that the black community, for some reason, the people who represent the black community don't represent most of the black community, because most of us aren't out here wilding out, strong arming, strong arm robberies against convenience stores,
because that was not in KSDK's story.
Right. We're not walking in the streets, in the middle of the street, just holding up traffic or whatever. We're not attacking police officers and trying to pull their guns out of their holsters.
Yeah, which, by the way, that was not in the story either.
Also not in the story. Yeah. These are all things that Michael Brown did. And we're not out there in the streets supporting guys like Michael Brown. The vast majority of black folks are in the middle class, just going to work, paying bills, and trying to raise our kids. And we have zero representation. We have zero representation in our quote unquote black leaders. And I don't understand why that is.
Okay, so I don't mean to ask one of these trite questions, but I'm going to ask it because you're sitting right here.
Yeah, it's me.
I mean, when you get because the media runs with this like crazy.
Oh yeah,
barely any coverage over the support. Not a memorial because TJ Brown's alive, thank God.
Right.
But, basically a rally for him.
Yeah.
A few dozen people show up, it looked like, looking at Channel 2's coverage of it.
All white, by the way.
Pretty much all white, mostly white.
Yeah.
His family was there. There were a few. And so you get that. And then you get the Black Ball Gala for Michael Brown, where everybody's celebrating and his pictures up everywhere.
Annual event. They declared it an annual event. They're ever going to do this every year.
And the self-appointed spokespeople for an entire race in the United States. Does that affect you? And I'm saying Gabe Phifer.
Oh, yes.
I'm not saying speak for all black people. I'm talking about you.
Well, personally, I'm definitely affected by this. No, it's interesting because, my dad came out of the segregated South, essentially, right? And one of the sort of mentalities that comes from that is this sort of collective idea about guilt and pride. So when you see somebody who looks like you doing something good, you're prideful. Right. If you see somebody who looks like you doing something bad, you're embarrassed. You're like, hey, this, and there's a mandate that comes from that sort of mentality that says, do not embarrass us. Do not do things wrong out here and make us look bad in front of all these white people. That's one of the things that came out of the segregated South as integration was starting to become a thing. Don't embarrass the family, is another thing. We joke, our siblings, we joke about that because that'd be like, hey, like you guys out here, doing something to shame the family. Don't embarrass the family. That mentality has gone away. I mean, apparently, I guess in the black community, because all of the most embarrassing people for our race essentially are out here being lifted up. And I
being
don't
celebrated.
I do not understand it. And the thing is, it affects me because I was raised by my dad. He's like, these things do have an effect on the way people of other races, people in other countries now with global communications view you. Like when you're walking in the store, you can't tell immediately by looking, if I'm in jeans and a t-shirt, that I'm different
that
Michael
you're an
Brown.
MIT trained rocket scientist.
Right, exactly.
Is your church do deacons or elders?
Elders.
Elder.
I'm an elder at the church.
Elder at your church, married, reared a kid,
Mhm.
who's off in college and successful, launching Alex's career.
Yep,
And so you've done all of these things.
I've done all the good things, right?
All the good things,
that society says that you should do, right?
which we expect of people who look like me.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, how did that happen?
Right.
Because that's how white liberals look.
That's how white liberals, they treat me like an anomaly, right?
But did you figure out how to get an ID?
Well, it was tough figuring out computers because I was, like Joe Biden said, I was not really familiar with the internet.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I did manage to get an ID so I could vote. But I got to say that it's tough because, what I want people to see of the Black community are the TJ Browns of the world, because there are more of them. There are legitimately, just numerically, more TJ Browns in the Black community than there are Michael Browns. But the Michael Browns get all of the attention. They get all the focus, and they get all of the lauds. And that makes no sense to me.
Yeah, if you had told me that behind the scenes that there was a very racist white supremacist group saying, we need to make the Black community look as bad as possible, let's champion these people to make everybody think that Black people are all criminals and thugs, I would 100% believe that was intentionally going on.
It feels like a psyop. It feels like a psyop. Yeah. It's like, hey, Black people, let's talk about George Floyd.
Yeah.
Wait, the guy who died of a meth overdose? The guy who held a gun to the pregnant belly of his then girlfriend? The guy who was on probation for various robberies and drug. That's another one of our great leaders.
Build a statue. Hey, there's always Diddy.
Oh God. Oh no. Not Diddy. To us? Oh.
Never paint again. This is Darren, owner of Rhino Shield. Want to eliminate painting your home, business, or church? Call the experts at Rhino Shield. Rhino Shield is a revolutionary ceramic wall coating to regular paint and vinyl. Perfect for aluminum, steel, unpainted brick, block, stucco, EIFS, drive-it, cement board, and wood sidings. Rhino Shield eliminates wasting time and money painting year after year. Our ceramic coating deflects 90% of the sun's UV rays and 100% of the moisture. Our clients want affordable protection with the elimination of maintenance. Rhino Shield protects your biggest investment while maintaining your architectural features and gives you the curb appeal you deserve. Make your home great again by working with the Rhino Shield experts. A+ rated with the BBB. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Chris Arps here, and after Becky and I leave church on Sunday, we head down the street to Capriotti's to grab a classic meatball sub. And of course, for dessert, I get a giant chocolate chip cookie. I love Capriotti's, and you will too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Link, owner of the Dental Link. You've heard ads about teeth in a day, but did you know that you'll be chewing on plastic, acrylic teeth? Here at the Dental Link, we can give you porcelain crown and bridge teeth utilizing mini dental implants that function much more like real teeth at about half the cost. Plus, mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Give us a call at 314-794-6464 or simply visit us today at thedentallink.com.
Hey, it's First Alert Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton from Channel 4, and we are proud to be the official weather source for News Talk STL. Just like you've grown to expect from us at Channel 4, you can expect the same accurate, detailed, and timely weather coverage from News Talk STL. The First Alert weather team will keep you ahead of the big weather changes. And the one thing you can count on in St. Louis, the weather is constantly changing. So Channel 4 and News Talk STL are committed to keeping you up to date and safe.
News, analysis, opinion.
Thank you for taking my call. Thank you very much for taking my call. Every day it's something new. No one else is really talking about this. I'm glad you're fired up about it, too. Trump's doing the right thing. You know, there's so many issues.
It's over.
I think you're politically wrong.
Very upset.
I will have to agree with you. You're one of the sweetest guys in the world. For a guy who's so bad on politics.
1019 and 94.1.
Your platform is like really, really important to us.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
Yeah.
Okay, let's decompress here.
Yeah, please.
All right. After that, and by the way, you can check out our podcast and listen to that and chew on it and marinate on it and agree or disagree at the News Talk STL podcast. Just look up Mike Ferguson in the morning. It's right there. But in the meantime, Gabe, I need you to tell me something good.
Tell me something good.
All right. From Wyoming and Oregon comes a bit of a bizarre story where, get this, Scarlett Johansson's voice is being used to scare away wolves.
Like what?
Yeah, that's okay.
She doesn't have a bad voice.
This is a whole thing. Okay, so let me get to this. The reintroduction of gray wolves into Yellowstone Park has had a tremendous positive impact on the environment there.
Yes.
But unfortunately, that's come with a price for locals. Farmers and ranchers have had to deal with attacks on their livestock again, with some seeing double-digit losses of cattle in a single month. So this is the reason why there weren't wolves in Yellowstone for a while there. Now, since the wolves are protected now and cannot be fired upon or poisoned, according to multiple reports, farmers are using drones to pass over their land, playing, first of all, AC/DC music, which the wolves don't like.
Okay.
But also,
I mean, they're more of a Led Zeppelin species, just saying. Okay.
But also a scene from a Johansson film called Marriage Story, in which she's arguing with her on-screen husband, portrayed by Adam Driver. So most could probably understand how hell's bells could scare an animal away. But biologists have noted that wolves, for whatever reason, find the sounds of humans arguing disturbing enough to be deterred.
Oh,
which
interesting.
Which is wild. So basically, a well-acted argument between a married couple is enough to drive away wolves,
and nobody gets hurt.
And nobody gets hurt. That's the best part of it. So Euronews reports that the drones and their broadcasts have worked dramatically to lessen predation, and one monitoring period seeing wolf attacks numbers fall from 11 in 20 days to just 2 in 85 days. So it's huge economic relief for ranchers, and probably good for a laugh and a story for dinner guests.
Absolutely.
Tell me something good.
All right, so for 10 million worldwide patients with Parkinson's disease, hugely encouraging news out of Japan that a large pharmaceutical corporation is seeking approval for a new stem cell-based treatment. All right, so following a successful clinical trial in which seniors between 50 and 59 years of age received injections of induced pluripotent stem cells. Okay, so very specialized stem cells. They saw either a halting or reversal in symptoms. Sumitomo Pharma have applied for manufacturing and marketing authorizations in both Japan and the United States. So, as you know, Parkinson's is a debilitating neurodegenerative disease characterized by the loss of motor functions. Now, that's due to progressive reduction of dopamine-producing cells, right?
Very cruel disease.
It's a cruel disease, absolutely. So now, while currently available therapies improve symptoms without slowing or halting the disease progression, as described by the Parkinson's Disease Foundation, this new therapy takes iPS from healthy donors, programs to form new dopamine-producing cells, and deliver them directly into the brain with 2 injections, one on each hemisphere. The clinical trial was led by Kyoto University, and the published results in Nature showed that 4 out of 7 patients saw improved symptoms during a 2-year monitoring period, while the other 3 did not, but they didn't suffer any negative side effects. So this is looking very
promising. Yeah.
Tell me something good.
And our last story here: a Pittsburgh man and a dog teamed up to save 2 unconscious individuals in a local park. So another hero dog story. We got to love these. Gary Tynes shared both on Facebook and to local news station WTAE that he was playing with his own dog in a park when a leashed male pit bull arrived without an owner and made what was clearly a plea for attention. Quote, he would get just close enough where he was out of arm's reach and he would bark and turn and run a few steps and turn back around. Basically,
okay.
so the
follow me.
The clearly the canine equivalent of follow me. So the pit bull led him down a secluded, overgrown path to a tent encampment where he found a man and a woman lying on the ground unconscious. So Tynes called 911. Emergency dispatchers arrived in minutes to take them to the hospital. When Tynes recounted the story on Facebook, a commenter reached out sharing that she was the woman whose life he had saved.
Wow.
And that she would sincerely like to meet him. Tynes responded in affirmative, and that her dog, whom he had agreed to foster while the pair were in the hospital, was waiting for her.
Wow.
Tell me something good.
Now, to help you plan to have a good week, Tuesday is National Vinyl Record Day. Okay, so for all the old heads and the hipsters can kind of come together on that one. Wednesday is National Filet Mignon Day. So I'm thinking I might have a good steak on Wednesday. Thursday is National Navajo Code Talkers Day.
That is such a cool story.
It's a great story out
Such
of
a cool
World War II that I'm afraid is going to be lost to time. So find a documentary on them and share it around because that's really
I think
awesome.
there's one on YouTube. I think it's on YouTube now.
Yeah, there's
but
probably
if
one
not,
on YouTube.
you can find it on one of the streaming services. One of the coolest stories you will ever hear.
Absolutely. Definitely go and find out about that. Friday is National Relaxation Day. So just chill.
What?
Absolutely. Zen out, man.
What's that?
You're
gonna have to explain this concept to me.
How do you pronounce it?
I
Relax.
don't know what that
and today is National Sons and Daughters Day. So be sure to give some love to your project.
I've got one of each.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go. Exactly. Man, that was good stuff right there.
Oh yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Now did they say why that couple in the encampment was down? Did they say?
No, they never. They said. They went to the hospital for an unspecified reason.
Yeah.
Now, my take, if you're camping in the park.
Yeah, let's use some stereotypes.
Yeah.
But let's also stereotype that he was a good boy.
That was a good
dog
boy.
Was a very, very good boy.
Yes.
And that might be the wake-up call that somebody changes their life.
Here's hoping.
On that. That's good. Yeah, good stuff.
Tony Colombo here for All Solutions Pest Control, the team Christine and I trust to protect our home. We've used multiple services at multiple homes over the years, and I can tell you from all that experience, All Solutions is second to none. If you have a pest problem of any kind, or more importantly, just want to prevent a problem, All Solutions is the team to call. Learn more and take advantage of their incredible $67 introductory offer right now at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Is diabetes keeping you from enjoying life's special moments? At US Med, we understand the challenges you face, and we're here to help.
With US Med, I can finally manage my diabetes without it managing me.
US Med offers a wide range of services to simplify your diabetes care. Personalized care plans, convenient access to cutting-edge diabetes tech, and knowledgeable support. Plus, we'll check your insurance so your diabetes care may be covered at little or no cost to you.
With US Med, I feel confident and control of my diabetes. I can finally live my life to the fullest.
Don't let diabetes hold you back. Choose US Med and experience better birthdays, better adventures, better anniversaries, and better everything. Call now. US Med. Better service, better care. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. That's 800-515-2380.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. President Trump pledging to get tough with lawbreakers in the nation's capital and to evict homeless people from the city.
Washington, D.C.'s mayor says there is no current spike in crime in the city, but the president disagrees and he's vowing to crack down on criminals. He's already ordered an increased federal law enforcement presence in D.C. this week. On Sunday, he wrote online that he wants to move the homeless out of Washington immediately and move them far from the Capitol. He's scheduled to hold a press conference on Monday to discuss the matter. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu is defending a new military offensive in Gaza. It's even more intense than previously advertised.
The Prime Minister declared Sunday in the face of growing condemnation that Israel has, quote, no choice but to finish the job and complete the defeat of Hamas. Netanyahu said the security cabinet last week instructed the dismantling of Hamas's strongholds, not only in Gaza City, but also in the central camps and Muwasi. Netanyahu spoke to foreign media just before an emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council, saying, quote, "Our goal is not to occupy Gaza. Our goal is to free Gaza." The sprawling camps were not part of Israel's announcement Friday. Netanyahu's office said he has spoken with U.S. President Donald Trump about the plan and thanked him for his support. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Parts of the Midwest could get more rain today after weekend storms blamed for at least one death and many high water rescues. Wisconsin, especially hard hit. Milwaukee was really slammed. And while the Midwest deals with flooding caused by more than a foot of rain, more than 36 wildfires raging across at least 8 western states, including California. There's been no word yet on the cause of a deadly weekend house fire in Waldorf, Maryland. 6 people, 2 adults and 4 children, were killed in the blaze. Watching Wall Street ahead of the opening bell, the Dow futures up 62 points, NASDAQ futures 8 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
If you're living with pain, see how Relief Factor can help.
I'm an artist and I'm in my studio. I listen to the radio all day and I'm hearing the ads about Relief Factor. And I've got pain in my neck and it's getting worse. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go ahead and order this. 2 weeks later, I've got much better range of motion. If you're experiencing pain at a certain point in life, I would get Relief Factor.
Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. Go to ReliefFactor.com and get your 3-week quick start today. Only $19.95.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
Could not believe how my hearing and life changed. Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. I am eyeing a rain chance today. It's a lower risk for some storms, but morning or afternoon could see that scattered activity. Otherwise, temperatures expected to be near 91 degrees. Another toasty afternoon, but feeling a bit hotter once you factor in that heat index. Tuesday is much of the same, but eventually we'll see temperatures drying out by the end of the work week. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Located in the heart of St. Charles, Kevin's Guns is your family-owned destination for all things firearms. Whether you're a collector, hunter, or military enthusiast, we have it or can get it for you. From new to used rifles and handguns in every style and caliber, our friendly and knowledgeable staff is here to help educate you and ensure you make the perfect choice for your needs. Buy, sell, or browse our incredible selection at kevinsguns.net or call 636-493-1195. Kevin's Guns, where gun enthusiasts come home.
Mike Ferguson.
When they say it like that, you know they mean business.
Gabe Phifer.
He has great hair.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
You're not talking to Bambi's baby brother here.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
You know, we're getting a lot of responses from that Black Ball Gala story honoring Michael Brown over the weekend. So I think we're on 820. Let's touch on that again.
Right.
A little bit as well, because there's so many elements to this. There is the fact that people are going out of their way to honor a criminal, and that a police officer is honored, but it just doesn't draw that much attention. And the absolute no ironic pun intended, whitewashing of the story by local media.
Yes.
I mean, just disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
How the local media has handled
terrible
this.
reporting.
Yeah, it is. All right. Other news that's happening. A former Missouri congressman is packing his bags and is heading across the globe. And a Missouri lawmaker says state bureaucrats are abusing their power. He is calling for a political showdown. My words, not his. All right, 8:06 right now. Let's go ahead and dump some news on you.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news. The morning news dump.
Should we start with the stupid here?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So the construction on Alligator Alcatraz is now paused. It's not quite finished. I mean, they've got detainees there.
They're there. Yeah.
They're there. It's
They
already
even
operating.
started deportation flights out of there too.
Yes. But there's still more stuff that needs to be put in place,
Mhm.
and that's now on pause after a judge's ruling. The judge ruling that Alligator Alcatraz is violating environmental protection laws.
It's so crazy.
This is
That's
what
so
the
dumb.
leftist activists have gone to. They couldn't stop the illegal aliens from being caught, from being detained, and from being deported. So they're looking for any way to try to shut down the facility. Well, they couldn't get it shut down, so they're stopping the construction on whatever the last parts of it are, at least for the moment.
Mhm.
Florida Attorney General James Uthmeyer was on Fox Report calling the lawsuit judicial activism.
Just like no Florida state jails have to go through this federal NEPA process, we don't have to either. So we're going to continue to fight back. We will appeal any rulings that we disagree with. Ultimately, this is judicial activism, trying to stop what the Trump administration is doing.
Okay, so there's another lawsuit against the facility, and this is the typical left-wing trope
Now,
about
what is the argument here?
the argument is that I guess that for this ruling.
Yeah, for the Alligator Alcatraz.
Yeah. So that the ruling is that it's harming the swamp.
Okay.
It's
Somehow.
it's somehow disturbing the environment.
So the existing concrate pads
That was
they're
already there.
that was already there,
Yeah.
that were authorized at some point by the environmental protection agencies or whoever has in charge, putting structures on those existing
Right.
concrete pads is disturbing the
Somehow.
environment, because I guess were the alligators using the runways? That's I guess maybe that's the question. Hey, if the alligators using the runways, you got to respect their property rights.
Would have been cooler if they did. Just saying. And there's another lawsuit, and this is the more typical left-wing trope that the illegal aliens are being deprived of their constitutional rights. The illegal aliens are being
their constitutional
okay.
rights. Their constitutional rights to a pre-built prison.
I guess.
I guess
yes.
what's
Prefab one.
prefab, right? Okay.
Just like the founding fathers intended.
It's like I deserve concrete walls for my prison as opposed to fencing.
Yes. Read Federalist XYZ 1 2 3. Okay.
All right.
All right. In other news, that didn't last long. Former Missouri Congressman Billy Long is removed from his job as IRS administrator.
I want to talk to Billy.
I want to know what
Billy,
happened here.
What did you do?
I don't think he's going to return my text at this point, but
Billy, what happened?
he'd been on the job less than 2 months, and it was kind of a fight to get him confirmed.
Yeah. They spent a bit of political capital to get him in that job to begin with.
Yeah.
And then they moved him.
Yeah. President Trump plans to ship him off to the Nordic part of the globe.
All right.
We are being told, and the White House is confirming, that Billy Long will be the new ambassador to Iceland. Okay, that's a demotion.
That's absolutely a demotion.
What happened?
I don't know. It's basically like, all right, Billy, we can't have you be responsible for taxes and stuff. Why don't you just, I don't know, go look at Northern Lights, build an igloo, ride a dog sled.
This is a 3.5 year, basically working abroad for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, ambassador is a legitimate job. Don't get me wrong.
Some of these ambassadorships, though, they're just extended vacations.
Oh,
they really are.
I mean, something happened.
Something happened. Though.
What did you do, Billy?
What did he do?
And I don't know him very well. I mean, I've met him a few times, but you know, I don't know if it was nefarious or if I have no idea.
Right.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I really want to know.
I don't. Yeah. It's like, do you think we'll ever really know?
I don't think we will.
I don't think he's
going to tell us.
I'm. Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's talk redistricting here. Amid ongoing controversy over the whole Texas situation,
right?
California Governor Gavin Newsom announced on Friday that his state is going to hold a special election in early November to put their own redistricting plan before voters in order to give Democrats more safe seats and add to the Democratic vote total. So J.D. Vance, vice president, was on Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo on Sunday to discuss the whole redistricting thing. And he says California gained House seats in the first place by allowing illegal aliens into the state.
They get rewarded for welcoming illegal aliens into their state, giving them federal benefits, actually asking the taxpayers of states like Ohio to subsidize them. And then those same taxpayers in Ohio and Indiana and elsewhere, they have fewer congressional representatives because of what California has allowed to happen.
Okay, so one congressman who's also from California, a Republican named Kevin Kiley, is offering a solution to both sides on this. And basically, it comes down to, after the constitutionally mandated census every 10 years, we wait and redraw the lines then and only then. Here's the congressman speaking on the Fox report.
I think this sort of domino effect, this arms race where one state after another is going to be reshuffling their lines. So we essentially have rolling redistricting. I don't think that's good for Democrats or Republicans. There are really no winners in this arms race.
I like the way that he puts it as an arms race. And he just says, okay, everybody cool it. We'll do it once every 10 years. Then we can have a heated battle every 10 years. But he mentioned the rolling redistricting because what Missouri has discovered, Texas has discovered, California has discovered is that the Constitution calls for the redistricting,
right?
But it doesn't limit that to every 10 years. So they're arguing that we can do it anytime we want. And I think they're right.
It's a legal loophole that's being used, I think, in retaliation for decades of Democrat malfeasance when it comes to gerrymandering.
Right.
So and also just general manipulation. So whenever you heard the Democrats talking about how they wanted to protect their democracy, there's a specific kind of democracy that they wanted to protect.
Well, the kind that votes for them.
The kind that votes for them.
Right,
Exactly.
precisely.
So I mean, look, philosophically, I don't like gerrymandering. I don't like politicians picking their voters as opposed to the other way around, like you like to say it. But I understand the war that's currently being waged.
Yeah. So this congressman says, I've got an idea. Let's end the war.
Yeah.
Which is going to go nowhere in Washington, D.C. because President Trump's like, no, I can win this war.
Well,
so I want to see
at the very least, they could say, okay, the next time we do war, let's at least spread it out 10 years.
Right.
So they should be able to compromise on that.
Well, but they won't. But they should be able to. Yes, you're right. But they won't. All right. A key state lawmaker wants Missouri's legislature to put some bureaucrats in check, and it's all because of property taxes. The Missouri Tax Commission is basically trying to order local tax assessors to raise property valuations, and that, of course, would mean higher property tax bills would follow. The commission has sent memorandums of understanding to 88 counties, and it's now threatening to withhold state reimbursements if they don't sign on to this. Senator Tony Lutkemeyer is now calling for the legislature to rein in what he calls abuses of power by the bureaucrats, which is exactly what it is. Unless a special session is called to address this, any changes would have to happen in the 2026 legislative session. And we mentioned this last week, and it's really become a thing. And that is these bureaucrats who are accountable to nobody. They want more taxes. It's government first. And so they're trying to order the elected officials. You will raise those valuations. And then as a result, you will collect more property taxes.
Yeah. They're just trying to gouge us some more.
Exactly. All right. Let's see here. The Cardinals get the series win over the Cubs on Sunday night on ESPN. That was the game of the week, actually. Sonny Gray pitched 7 innings, giving up just 1 earned run. That's his 11th win of the season. That was a 3-2 victory. Pedro Pajes hit a 2-run home run in the 3rd inning. So the Cardinals continue their homestand tonight. The Rockies are in town for a series. Miles Michaelis expected to start for the Cardinals. First pitch is at 6:40.
Stop right now. I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now.
Well, there you go again, listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin God.
Hello, I'm Missouri State Treasurer Vivek Malik. August 14th is National Able Savings Day, a time to highlight how Able accounts empower individuals with disabilities. Our More Able program helps Missourians save for everyday needs without losing public benefits. To celebrate, we are offering a $25 match for anyone who opens a new account in August. Earnings grow tax-free and contributions qualify for a state tax reduction. Let's help more Missourians build financial independence. Learn more at moable.com.
Paid for by the Missouri State Treasurer's Office.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Jamie Ullman here with the great Eric Swanson of Newstedter's Fine Jewelers, Doherty Ferry and Big Bend. Tell me about Wow Diamonds.
Wow Diamonds. We call them that because when people come in and look at the diamonds, everyone says, wow. We feature those in natural diamonds, the mine diamonds. They're perfectly cut, polished, and proportioned. Not all diamonds come out of the cutting process the same, and ours are perfect. That's why they're called Wow Diamonds.
Newstedter's Fine Jewelers right there at Doherty Ferry and Big Bend, wowdiamonds.com.
Thanks for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Radio news junkie. Love every bit about it.
News Talk STL.
Hi, this is Susie Moore. Check out my show, Red State Radio, Sunday afternoon at 4, right here on News Talk STL. Now it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
By the way, happy birthday, Missouri.
Yeah.
Was it yesterday, I think, was Missouri is the, 204th, I think it is. 200. Missouri has officially been a state for 204 years and 1 day now.
Yes.
And if I say so ourselves, we don't look a day over 175.
Yeah, seriously. We're doing all right.
It's the college.
Yeah.
That we're having consuming.
Now the St. Louis has slimmed down a little bit. So I mean that might be contributing to it, but it feels like that's more like meth slimming down.
Yeah, that and at some point we're going to run out of people to shoot. So, we've already shot them all.
Yeah. So I mean, there's some things to work on.
I should.
There are things to work on.
Yeah, we got things. All right. All right. 8:18. Okay. Now, speaking of the sort of criminal aspect of all of this, there were two different, one memorial, one sort of rally and celebration.
Right.
And I know that they were not competing.
Yeah.
And my guess is that just from what I'm reading on the family of Officer TJ Brown, they're not trying to get into the whole Michael Brown stuff. They're not trying to get into the BLM stuff. They're not trying. So
which is smart.
Yeah. And they're getting pulled into this discussion, and it's not totally fair to them.
No,
but this is how
it's the context of it. The whole
dichotomy is right there, because over the weekend, there were two different events, one to honor Officer TJ Brown and another to honor Michael Brown.
Right.
Michael Brown Jr. And which one gets all the gushing media attention?
Right.
The one honoring Michael Brown.
Of course.
And the most egregious coverage I pointed out was KSDK Channel 5. Just absolutely a grotesque abandonment of any semblance of journalism. It was activism. It was cultural leftist activism. That's all that the coverage was.
And that's all that whole situation is.
It was all about the inspiring life of Michael Brown Jr.
Inspiring life.
All about, and it starts off by saying he was shot and killed by police.
Right.
Period. End of sentence.
End of sentence. Right.
Nowhere in the article does it talk about him being a criminal and that he was killed attacking a police officer.
No context whatsoever.
Yeah, no context whatsoever. Nothing that about the left-wing Obama administration's Department of Justice investigating, trying to nail the police officer to the wall on this.
Desperately.
And confirming twice that Michael Brown was at fault for his own death.
Right.
None of that was in there. It was all a glowing, how wonderful is this to honor the young life cut short too soon. That's what the entire article was about. No context, celebrating one side of a cultural divide adding fuel to the fire of that cultural divide by misrepresenting the entire context.
Yeah, I don't know what there is there to honor. And that's the thing that gets me. It's like we're going to honor the life and legacy of Michael Brown Jr.
Yeah.
Wait, so now at the time I think he was what, 16, 17?
18. He was 18.
He was 18.
Yeah.
Okay, 18-year-old.
He was an adult.
Even if he was a good kid, what legacy does an 18-year-old have?
Right.
To begin with.
Yeah, there was no reference in there to him strong arm robbing the convenience store guy over what some cigarettes or whatever it was,
papers or something like that.
And then there was the riots that took place where his stepdad's yelling, "Burn this MFer down!"
Right.
The merchandising of his family.
The absolute grift that was all of the fundraising that kind of came up around that, all of the advocacy groups that built themselves on that incident. All of that is negative. There's nothing positive to that quote unquote legacy.
But they watered that down to talk about that being, the national conversation and this is, at the call for change and reform. I mean, they've spun this as though he is some sort of academic who gave everybody something to think about instead of just being another criminal out there who got himself killed by attacking a police officer in broad daylight.
It's the craziest thing I've ever seen when these people who put themselves in these situations and then find themselves at 6 feet under are being lauded as somehow these champions of societal change, as examples to follow, as what was it, role models, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like those words were used in some of this coverage,
Unbelievable.
right? It's like there is nothing role model worthy of Michael Brown Jr.
And then let's talk about the much, much smaller, more grassroots event that happened. And that was kind of a celebration and rally for Ferguson police officer TJ Brown, not related, just happen to have the same name. And that was people coming together to honor him and his work and his sacrifice. He's got a permanent life altering brain injury suffered at the hands of Michael Brown rioters, Michael Brown inspired rioters, because remember, all of these violent attacks happened about a year ago on the 10-year mark of Michael Brown getting himself killed. And Officer TJ Brown was knocked over and his head was slammed on the ground to the point where he has a traumatic brain injury. And he's now in Atlanta and basically a long-term recovery where he's trying to learn to walk again and speak again and use his limbs again.
The actions. Okay, let's look at that then. That is a legacy.
Yes.
We could say that is the legacy of the Michael Brown incident is the destruction of that man's family.
And here's the thing is of Officer Brown's family.
Family.
See, and that's what the Michael Brown activist would celebrate because he was a police officer.
Yeah,
and
not wrong.
Every article that has anything to do with the so-called Chosen for Change Foundation by Michael Brown Sr., who set up that in order apparently to raise a lot of money off of his son's, let's call it, legacy. And you've got TJ Brown, who went in to serve his community, into Ferguson in particular after this, after the Michael Brown riots, after it was proven the hands up, don't shoot was a lie. All of that afterwards. And so also that was for TJ Brown's family to say thank you to the St. Louis community for being there for them. Their GoFundMe raised the money that they wanted to. The police department in Ferguson said, we're not abandoning him. He's part of the family. We're trying to provide everything we can possibly provide for them. So you've got a tale of two
Browns.
Black men. Which one does the media choose to gush over? And which one do they just do the very basic, very short who, what, where, when, why
tiny
story?
Minimalist bullcrap.
Every story about the Michael Brown, anything, whether it's this or every year when they do this, the first sentence or two, they say Michael Brown Jr., who was shot and killed by police.
Yep. That's it.
No context, nothing at all. KSDK's coverage of this was shameful, which is what I've come to expect. They are not a news organization. I keep trying to find ways to say that today. The reporter who wrote it should be absolutely embarrassed and stop calling yourselves reporters or journalists. Call yourselves activists. Then at least I could respect that you're telling the truth.
Yeah, it's really disgusting what we've seen out of the media when it comes to this stuff, because they're perpetuating the essentially the Marxist division that is built up around this. You got to add that to the context of the whole thing too. All of the activists who jumped onto the quote unquote Black Lives Matter bandwagon were, and by their own definition, by their own admission, trained Marxists.
Right.
So all of the facade of this activism, all the facade of their social change agencies and all these other things it's all part of the Marxist attempt to divide and conquer America. I mean, really, they're acting as chaos agents, not change agents, but chaos agents in America to dismantle, to demoralize and destroy the current American system so that they can build on its ashes their quote unquote a socialist utopia, which is nothing more than Soviet communism,
right,
writ large in America.
How do minorities do under communism and socialism typically in world history?
Well, you could ask their ancestors. Oh, wait, no, there aren't very many of them because they're all dead.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting. I don't know if it speaks more to the IQ of these individuals supporting Michael Brown or the more of a moral test for the people that support that over.
I think it's the moral test.
Yeah, because
I don't think these are dumb people.
No, I do think that it's sometimes intentional that they're trying to send us a very specific message without having to say it out loud. Because again, speaking for the white community, for example, I would not ever want to see some of the worst people of our race that have done things that resulted in their deaths being championed as this is the best we have. We need to celebrate and remember them. And Allison also makes a great point, is how many parents out there truly want their kids to grow up and be like Michael Brown or George Floyd?
Yeah, right. Yeah, seriously.
And there is no white community.
Right.
I mean, that's
well, to some people there are.
Well, if they like,
and I would not want them having statues being remembered,
Yeah, but I mean,
they're looking for land in North County right now.
For land. But that's the thing. You get self-appointed leaders who are spokespeople for you. Gabe.
Yes.
They appoint themselves, and everybody is supposed to say, well, we got to be unified. Well, what if disunity is your purpose?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's amazing to watch because look, most Black people are in the middle class.
That's true.
They go to work every day.
Mm-hmm.
They're just trying to live, trying to raise their families the same as you. They're struggling with the rising costs of these various things. They're trying to deal with government intrusion into their lives as well. When they want to start a business like a hair braiding business, they've got to go through ridiculous hoops that the government is putting in their way that we would like to remove. But all of those people are essentially silent. They're unrepresented in the wider discussion about the issues between the races, which has risen significantly since basically the 90s. We were talking about this. It's like it feels like in the 90s we were kind of figuring it out.
Yeah.
Some of the most loved people in America were Black. Like Michael Jordan,
the posters on my wall.
Michael Jordan, Whitney Houston, the Cosby Show was top of the world. Michael Jackson. Now granted, they're just celebrities. They're entertainers and things like that. But we also had growing representation in politics and things like that with various people like your Colin Powells of the world and your Condoleezza Rice's of the world. So it seemed like we were figuring it out. We were coming out of the craziness that was the 60s, 70s, and early 80s, where we were trying to figure out how to live together in this country again. And then something happened. And now we've gotten to this place where the people who could just easily live with one another, we could just easily get like us in this room, are beset by these constant news stories about these destructive individuals in the Black community who are somehow being raised to be examples.
I think you got through the late 90s and early 2000s. And my guess is that the K through 12 system and academia doubled down on the Alinsky tactic and divide and conquer, because what you've got right now, 20, 25 years ago, that's when the graduates and all the industries came out, and the industry started getting captured by this left-wing ideology. And I think that was one of the key times that did it. And then the Michael Brown lies put the fuel on the fire to take it to a new level.
And I'd also like to remind everybody, if you have thoughts on this, go ahead and check us out on our social media platforms. We have X, we have Facebook, we have YouTube, Rumble, all the goodies. So go ahead and follow us, give us some likes, share this conversation with people that you may know in your life that are on the wrong side of who they're supporting, and make sure that they hear it.
I would always find my way to you.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. I am eyeing a rain chance today. It's a lower risk for some storms, but morning or afternoon could see that scattered activity. Otherwise, temperatures expected to be near 91 degrees. Another toasty afternoon, but feeling a bit hotter once you factor in that heat index. Tuesday is much of the same, but eventually we'll see temperatures drying out by the end of the work week. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Fox News commentary.
President Trump wants a new census with no illegal aliens in the count. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
I'm alpine skier Michaela Schifrin. I've won the most World Cup ski races in history. But what does success mean to me? Success means discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us. And it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. If you're looking for success, surround yourself with the people who will get you there. If you're an advisor or investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE. Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
All the squabbling over redistricting and gerrymandering, perhaps there's a compromise. Instead of this tit for tat between red and blue states and threats to redraw maps, how about we just redo the 2020 census and go from there? But there's one catch. No illegal aliens will count. That seems to be what President Trump would like to see happen, as he's instructed the Department of Commerce to begin work on a new and more accurate census based on modern day facts and figures, and of course, excluding illegal aliens. Now, by all accounts, this would be a massive undertaking. The census happens once a decade and involves a lot of time and resources. However, the 2020 census was no doubt flawed for a number of reasons, including COVID. If we were able to get a new head count in every state given the opportunity to redraw maps according to accurate population totals, perhaps that's a great compromise. And I'm all for it. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Storm damage got you stressed out? Don't worry. Call Mario and his team at Top Quality Exteriors. We're your local St. Louis neighbors. Mario and his team specialize in roofing, siding, and gutters. Whether you need a few shingles replaced or a complete exterior makeover, we bring quality work with real results at an affordable price. Plus, we'll work with your insurance company to get your claim approved and help you get your repairs done quickly. Call for a free estimate today, 314-683-6986. BBB accredited and ready to roll. 314-683-6986.
Hey, it's Chris Arts, and I'm heading back to Israel the week of August 11th, but this time, Tim will be coming with me.
That's right, Chris. Our friends at Newsmax sending us to Israel the week of August 11th. We'll be checking in with all our favorite local shows all week, as well as doing our own show there.
Newsmax and NewsTalkSTL teaming up for Mission Israel the week of August 11th. And I hope the trip doesn't include bomb shelters and evacuation bus rides like my last visit.
The Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show, weekday afternoons at 4, live and local, right here on News Talk STL.
Hi, I'm Helene Tobler, culinary nutritionist at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. Here we do practical wellness. Dr. Randy and I have a common sense approach to healthcare. My passion is helping our members enjoy better nutrition because food is medicine. We approach problems with a lifestyle foundation and cutting-edge medical tool chest. At Body of Health, it's about being your healthiest you. If you want to experience healthcare the way it ought to be, schedule a discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Hey, St. Louis golfers, looking for a new golfing experience? Sugar Creek Golf Course was voted the most popular golf course in St. Louis. Book your tee time today at sugarcreekgolfcourse.com and join the fastest growing golf community in town, sugarcreekgolfcourse.com.
Conservative talk for St. Louis.
It's your patriotic right and duty. The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
Interesting how there are some of the big stories in the news kind of intertwined together. I mean, is it time to redraw the congressional district lines now that the border is basically secured? You're like, wait a minute, Mike, those are two separate things. What are they? Are they really two different things? Are they related as well? And then, of course, we've got so much effort from the Uniparty to push the Epstein situation and the Epstein case out of the headlines. And by and large, they're succeeding. There's just some of us out there who won't let go of it because we see how important this is. It is 8:36 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson, and we are now joined by Congressman Eric Burlison. And Congressman, it's great to chat with you again. Thanks so much. Let me start with one of the basic things that the president has been calling for, starting with a new updated way to do the census in the country. And we can talk about all the residual things in just a minute. Is he onto something? Does he have a valid point in saying we've got to change how the census is collected in the first place?
Oh, 100%, Mike. It's going to be on. Yeah, we know at the minimum there was about 10 million illegal immigrants in the United States. And the Democratic Party, it became very clear that what their goal was to make sure that they could use those individuals to pad their numbers so that they were able to get more representation in Congress, which is why you see so many more seats in California, in New York, and particularly in all these blue sanctuary cities, right? So it took us a while to figure it out, but that was their goal, which is, I think we didn't anticipate that that's what they were doing because it's so evil what they were doing. And so, but yeah, I think President Trump is right. How we account for the numbers and kind of remove them from the census is a logistical question. And so, but I wholeheartedly support the president's efforts in getting this right.
Okay. One of your colleagues, Congressman Kiley, I think is how you say his name. He is basically proposing a detente on all of the mid-cycle redistricting in California and Texas and possibly Missouri and some other states. When you look at this effort to try to, well, we're going to redistrict and add more Democratic seats. Okay. Well, Texas is going to redistrict to add more Republican seats in response. And then, Missouri is being asked to do the same thing. Before we get into whether or not Missouri, for instance, should move to a 7-1 map, what's the overall effect if there can be a redistricting in any state, basically at any time? Can this be a healthy thing, or is this kind of a mutually assured destruction within a republic?
Yeah, I think that the calculation is that the Democrats have been doing this in all of their states, which is why Illinois is so gerrymandered that they can threaten all they want, but they're not going to be able to find a way to get to squeeze more Republicans out of Illinois. And so that's why during the redistricting fight in 2022, myself, Senator Bill Eigel, Senator Andrew Koenig, basically the Freedom Caucus members back then, were fighting for a 7-1 map. And Jay Ashcroft, the Attorney General, was advocating for a 7-1 map. And part of the argument was that, look, Missouri and the Republican Party, just like we always do, bring a Nerf gun to a gunfight. And the Democratic Party in Illinois and all over the country are absolutely going to, doing everything they can to write maps that have as many Democratic members of Congress as possible. Why can't we do that in Missouri? Why shouldn't we do that in Missouri? And which is why I think that really this is vindication for the efforts that Jay Ashcroft and especially former Senator Bill Eigel had in fighting for a 7-1 map, because we were fighting against the Senate leadership, fighting against the House leadership to an extent, but fighting against basically Republican squishes who, if they were still in office, would have to eat crow, because now you have the president coming in and saying Missouri didn't do it right. We need to fix this. And so this is, in a lot of ways, it vindicates the efforts of so many back then.
We are visiting with Congressman Eric Burlison, and just want to follow up on this with the impact of the illegal immigration aspect of it. Essentially, the border is secured, at least for the time being. And, who knows what the next administration is going to do, whoever that's going to be. But at this point, when you look at the deportation efforts, judges ruling against finishing construction, Alligator Alcatraz. We've got governments that are not honoring, basically the holds that ICE is putting on known or suspected criminals around the country. You've got this push in favor of illegal immigration through lawfare and literally violence all over the country. What's the next step in finding the illegal aliens, getting them out of the country, and doing so in the right priority and the right order?
Yeah, I think that they're prioritizing criminals, and I think that they could continue to do so. Here's what I think, Mike. The fact that we've shut the valve, we've turned the flow off, and in fact, there's been no one entered into the country for months. I think that the number was like each month we now have about 4,000 to 5,000 encounters, which is easy for our Border Patrol to be able to handle that number. When you compare that to the 250,000 encounters that they had under Joe Biden per month. So we have almost a 96, 98% reduction in the number of people that are attempting to come across the border. When you take that into consideration, and the fact that there is going to be some natural deportation. So you're going to have people that decide, hey, or maybe they were planning to go back home all along, but they didn't. They knew they couldn't come. They could always come back in the United States. Well, now they can't come back in, but they're going to have to go home. And so you're going to see, I think, some natural deportation. That, along with what we're doing with people that refuse to go home, I think will dramatically shift this problem in the United States.
Okay, I want to switch topics just a little bit. You are one of the few who are still standing strong on saying we need to know what happened in the Epstein case. We need to see those files. Personally, Eric, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that, because we know that the uniparty, basically both sides, just want this to go away, which tells me we need to make sure that we get that truth out there. Why is it so important to risk, frankly, political capital with you and Thomas Massey and some of the others who are doing the right thing on this? And is there really, how much hope should we have that we're going to get the truth on what happened with Epstein and those who are connected to him?
Well, thank you. To me, this transcends politics. This is something, I think other members have said, I'm going to have to face my maker someday, and I don't want to have to answer to try, for the efforts or lack of efforts that I did to bring pedophiles to account, and to expose a deep state that might be covering for them. So no, this transcends politics. I've been advocating for releasing the Epstein files for a long time, for years, and I'm not going to change that because it's politically unvogue or unpopular. I think that these young women, which is hundreds and thousands of victims, they deserve to have somebody fighting for them to make sure that justice is brought to the people that enabled and empowered Jeffrey Epstein and whomever else he was allowing to molest young children. I think it's just unacceptable.
What's the next step in trying to get to the truth, given the political obstacles that have been thrown your way? And I say you, I mean those of you who are fighting to get this information released and the accountability out there to the public. What are the next steps in trying to win this?
Yeah, I think Chairman Comer is doing a great job. He's issued subpoenas for a number of people, including Republican attorney generals, Democrat attorney generals, and then even Bill and Hillary Clinton. And so we will have those depositions. They've got a timeline that goes from September all the way towards October, or late October, where we will bring each one of these individuals in and have them have to give testimony under oath. In addition, Chairman Comer issued a subpoena, and all of these subpoenas were driven by the membership of the committee. And so, yeah, I think that this will happen eventually, and it's just a matter of time. So if all else fails, you've got the Thomas Massey bill that I'm a co-sponsor of that forces, from a congressional standpoint, basically passes a law that they have to release these files. And so there's a lot of mechanisms, I think, that are in place. And I don't think this issue is going away. But I think the American people deserve the truth, just like they deserve the truth on so many other issues. And that's why this issue feels so raw and so immediate, because it's a scandal that has just recently, I say recently, in the last 20 years happened. But then when you're talking about the fact that this same government, the same intelligence community, has been covering for and trying to hide information, go all the way back to the JFK assassination, or go all the way back to the Martin Luther King Jr. assassination, right? We can't get information about the people that attempted to assassinate Donald Trump or the Vegas shooter. We can't get information about UAPs, right? So this government that continues to hide information and keep secrets from the American people, I think that this ultimately begs the question, is this government responsible to the American people? Does this government still serve the American people? Do the American people still own this government? Does it still belong to them? And that's why this is at the heart of that, and especially with the Epstein case, it's so immediate and raw in that. And so I think that's why people feel very emotional about this.
All right. Congressman Eric Burlison from Missouri, really appreciate you checking in with the time, and please accept our thanks. We're getting people commenting on social media. Please tell him thank you. Please tell him thank you for not letting this go and staying on it. So you've got support throughout the Show Me State. I think you know that, but just in case they try to tell you something different in the bubble of DC.
Well, thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
All right. We'll talk to you again soon, Eric. All right. 314-912-1019. I've actually got a follow-up, and I've got a soundbite from Congressman James Comer on those subpoenas that Congressman Eric Burlison just mentioned. I'll get those to you and in your ears here right around 8:51.
I can never feel the way you do, but it still becomes.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewsTalkSTL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for Patriot Heating and Cooling. When your home's comfort is on the line, you need a team you can trust. That's why I recommend Patriot Heating and Cooling, St. Louis's trusted team of HVAC experts. These pros make customer service their number one priority, whether it's a summer breakdown or a winter emergency. Booking your service couldn't be easier. Just visit callpatriothvacstl.com or call 314-527-2722. Patriot Heating and Cooling. Comfort every day, the Patriot way.
Public schools, like public libraries, should be free and open to all. Open enrollment allows parents to choose the school that's the best fit for their children. Maybe another school has a wider curriculum, is bigger or smaller. Maybe a kid is being bullied and would be more comfortable at another school. 75% of parents favor open enrollment. Open enrollment programs now exist in 43 states, and Missouri should join them. Our next-door neighbor, Kansas, has one of the strongest open enrollment policies in the nation. Kansas parents are trusted with choices and options, while Missouri parents must move out of their home to change public schools. And it's a trend. Nationwide, the percentage of students going to their chosen public school has steadily increased. Assigning kids to schools based on their zip code is the old way. Open enrollment is a better way. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
So Adam Schiff, Letitia James, they both seem to be in so much trouble, and they accuse Donald Trump of stuff, right? We'll get the inside dope from Douglas Blair Monday at 11:25.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
All right, let me follow up on that discussion with Congressman Eric Burlison that we had as that Epstein investigation continues to unfold. I say unfold, it's a weird thing because you've got some Republicans and a few Democrats who are pushing to have this investigation unfold, to use the words in the news copy here. But then there's a whole lot of Republicans and Democrats who are trying to push back and keep it folded.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, Congressman Eric Burlison is not one of those. He's actually trying to do the right thing and fight for it.
Yep, exactly. So Congressman James Comer was on Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo, and he was talking about his House Oversight Committee, which is what Congressman Burlison just referenced. The House Oversight Committee subpoenaing former President Bill Clinton, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and former U.S. Senator, to testify about Jeffrey Epstein. And he spoke with Maria Bartiromo to discuss what will happen if the Clintons try to fight the subpoena.
If the Clintons try to fight this subpoena, which we presume they will, this subpoena came as a result of a bipartisan vote, which has never happened before in the House Oversight Committee. So we're looking forward to hearing from the Clintons. The American people want to know what went on Epstein Island.
And here's the thing with the Republicans being in control of the House, the Senate, and the White House, they've got the ability to put the truth out there.
Yes.
But they're deflecting.
There is no reason that I can think of that would justify having the majority, again, it's Republicans, MAGA, America, it's all these right-wing groups that are coming out saying, we want this information released no matter what. And it's our own side that's brick walling it.
Right. So Vice President J.D. Vance also on Sunday Morning Futures, but with Maria Bartiromo, she had a big show on Sunday, apparently. He was discussing Democratic responses to how President Trump is handling the case, and he was criticizing former President Joe Biden.
For 4 years, Joe Biden and the Democrats did absolutely nothing about this story. We know that Jeffrey Epstein had a lot of connections with left-wing politicians and left-wing billionaires. And now President Trump has demanded full transparency from this. And yet somehow the Democrats are attacking him and not the Biden administration, which did nothing for 4 years.
Okay, here's the thing, though. If President Trump were serious about full transparency, he can release the documents. He can release the files. What he has said is release grand jury transcripts, which by law, for the most part, are secret, but the Department of Justice has acknowledged that they have them. So release them. Don't deflect. Did the Democrats and Biden, were they part of the cover-up? Absolutely they were. So don't continue the cover-up. Release them.
Yeah, I don't like that deflection of the Democrats had all this stuff. Does anybody out there really believe that there are not people within the DNC that are also involved in this crime? They were not promising transparency when it came to these things. They were not considering and floating around the idea of releasing it. And I do hate the fact that the longer this goes on, the more that's going to be used as fuel by the DNC, which I think that's despicable to do that for political reasons now, because you are correct. 4 years went by, nothing happened. But at the same time,
can I jump in? Finish your thought in just a second, but just to tack onto that, the DNC and the Democrats now, they don't really have any more use for the Clintons. So don't be surprised if they throw them under the bus or let them go under the bus and then still try to use it for themselves, like you're saying, because I think you're spot on. And because there's a lot of people who say, oh, they got to protect the Clintons at all costs. Clintons are old news. Once they run out of fundraising capability, I wouldn't be surprised if the DNC says, we got a choice between yesterday, which was the Clinton, and today, which is Hakeem Jeffries and Cory Booker and Jasmine Crockett and Gretchen Whitmer. So I wouldn't be surprised if they eat their own at some point on this.
Yeah. And like I said, I really, truly despise how despicable it is for that side to be trying to do this whole grandstanding of, for the list. And yes, to your point about the Clintons as well, everybody that I know my age, including people, my mom and people that were supportive of Bill Clinton back in the day, they all are saying, look, if he's on there, we want that information released as well. They're not, I've not seen the same level of pushing back saying, oh, it's just all a hoax. They're making it up to frame the Clintons. And I want to I have to hold our side accountable, because there's a reason why I side with the way I side. And it's because we're supposed to be better than that. We're supposed to continue to fight for what's right.
Okay. even the most dedicated Democrats who are listening right now, are you honestly going to say, oh, there's no way Bill Clinton would have ever, he would never do that? Come on. Come on.
He went to the island all those times just for the weather. You know, it was, you know, he liked to snorkel.
He would never. No. Wait, you know, and the thing is, and somebody I think on Twitter was going after either you or both of us or whatever, and was saying, well, what happens if there's some high-ranking Republicans on there? And your answer was perfect. Like, then expose them and prosecute them.
Exactly. This should not. There is nobody that I am so loyal to.
Yeah.
Family, friend, politician, whoever. There's nobody that I am so loyal to that I would forgive and want them to not face justice for what they did, because you either protect children and care about them or you don't.
And the thing is that if you don't expose this and stop it, it's going to continue. And I think as horrible as the abuse is, you know, not even of just children, but I'm sure there were young women of age who were also trafficked and abused as well. As horrible as all of that is, it could be that this is just one part of a much bigger aspect of abuse and corruption and everything that goes with it. And that probably has something to do with why both sides want everybody to forget about this and why we cannot forget about it.
Because again, groups like this, we're seeing this a lot now with the FBI going after these online, you know, is that sometimes it's not that they're all getting cahoots, but they have interconnections, and it needs to be exposed. It needs to come to light. It needs to be brought to justice.
Yeah. And obviously we're not really necessarily in the campaign season, but if the establishment goes after people like Eric Burlison, just remember that he needs support because he's trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. All right. Chris Arps and Tim Jones broadcasting from Israel this week. It's going to be interesting because fill-in host today, Patrick Toohey, is going to be interviewing at 4:05 Tony Messenger on News Talk STL. That's going to be fascinating. You want to check that out.
Springtime in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Mr. Rob Miller from Harvest Town Auto Body in St. Peter's did. He called Rhino Shield.